McWanago.
Nobody sells for less than Lynch.
Keeping you informed, keeping you safe, keeping you engaged and entertained. We are Wisconsin's radio station. News Radio 620 WTMJ, Milwaukee.
12 noon, 1 degree. We're headed for a high today of 4. Wind chills minus 15 to minus 30. Today there is a wind chill advisory in effect until 9 a.m. Wednesday for all of southeast Wisconsin. From the WTMJ Breaking News Center, I'm Connie Weber. One person has died after a house fire near Burleigh and 9th Street.
Milwaukee Fire confirming a 62-year-old woman died in the fire, which happened shortly before 3:30 this morning on the second floor of a house on North 9th Street. An elderly man also hospitalized. MFD saying the smoke alarms in the house were present, but they were not functional. Landlords are required by law to provide working smoke detectors, and if you own your place, you can call the Milwaukee Fire Department's smoke alarm hotline, and firefighters will install a smoke alarm for free at your condo, single-family home, or duplex. Wyatt Barmore-Pooley, WTMJ News.
2 snowmobilers lucky to be alive today after their sleds fell through the ice on Lake Wisconsin yesterday.
Columbia County rescue crews were dispatched to the scene around 11 a.m., where one person was in the water and another on top of the ice. Officials crediting a flotation device designed for snowmobiling with saving the life of the man in the water. It's also a good reminder to exercise caution when engaging in either snowmobiling or ice fishing on frozen over lakes and rivers, since ice levels are likely still low given the relative warm start to winter this season. Adam Roberts, WTMJ News.
Republican voters in Iowa will be braving extreme cold to pick a presidential candidate. Wind chills expected to be near 30 degrees below zero, which could affect turnout this evening. Former President Trump and former South Carolina Governor Nikki Haley among the GOP contenders exchanging verbal punches just hours before the caucuses start. TMJ4 News political reporter Charles Benson's been in Iowa for days and tells Wisconsin's Morning News. Despite the dangerous wind chills for tonight's caucuses, people in that state will turn out.
One thing I have known, being here several times, they take this commitment serious. They really feel it's important. They do want to send a message. They want to be the first in the nation to sort of take a look at this.
Republican caucuses begin tonight at 7 p.m. We could begin seeing results by 8:30 or 9 o'clock. The Defense Secretary is out of the hospital.
Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin was released from Walter Reed National Military Medical Center Monday, 2 weeks after he was admitted for treatment for complications following his surgery in late December to treat prostate cancer. A statement from the Pentagon says Austin continues to recover well and will recuperate and perform his duties remotely for a period of time before returning full-time to the Pentagon. He'll have full access to required secure communication capabilities. Austin said in a statement he is grateful for the, quote, excellent care he received at Walter Reed, and says he's thankful and appreciative for the well wishes he received for a speedy recovery. Karen Travers, ABC News, Washington.
Today, the nation honors the life and legacy of Dr. Martin Luther King, Jr. 1017 The Truth's Telly Hughes tells Wisconsin's Morning News Dr. King's message of unity resonates strongly with young people.
I'm hopeful every year that, this day is not just a day off from school. I hope that the younger generation pay attention and really understand what he was doing in the era he was doing it.
Packers head to San Francisco riding high after a big win over the Cowboys in the first round of the NFL playoffs. The game was never close. ESPN Milwaukee's Mark Tauscher says credit goes to the coaching staff.
It was just a thing of beauty by what Matt LaFleur did, and his guys believed in everything that he was telling them was going to work, and it did.
Packers and 49ers from the Bay Area next Saturday night, kickoff at 7 p.m. Time for news about your money at the WTMJ Annex Wealth Management Market Update. Markets are closed today for the King Day holiday. 2024 is here. Be ready with investment, retirement tax, and estate planning from a fee-only fiduciary. Click the Get Started button at annexwealth.com. Sports, traffic, and weather are next. Citing Unlimited, WTMJ News Time, 12:04.
This report is brought to you by Rejuvenix, your non-surgical joint therapy experts.
I couldn't even bend over, but now after stem cell treatment, I can deadlift a house.
Now this is an exaggeration, but I do hear about unbelievable miracle outcomes, and I have to ask, do you really believe them? If they were true, these biological treatments wouldn't even have to be advertised. Truth is, stem cell effectiveness is nowhere near 100%. It's expensive, and it doesn't last. At Rejuvenix, our FDA-approved pharmacological treatments ease inflammation and reduce pain. They're precisely administered to where your pain lives, and they work. Will the pain reduction last forever? No. But in some cases, relief has lasted as long as 24 months, and in most cases, insurance has paid for the treatments entirely. This is Richard Salinas, registered nurse with Rejuvenex Arthritis Clinics, where we can alleviate your pain and rejuvenate your life.
Alleviate your pain, rejuvenate your life.
Go to rejuvenex.com to request your appointment.
This is Brad Youngbluth with Semper Fi Roofing and Exteriors, your local, veteran-owned and operated exterior remodeling company. The Energy Star ratings for windows are getting a lot tougher to get the tax credit, so you're going to want to take advantage of. Fortunately, we still have options that will qualify you for those tax credits. Now, I can sit here and talk benefits of this product or what's great about that product. So can everybody else. But what a lot of operations can't do is, with complete confidence, stand behind the crew that's going to be on that next job. Talk is cheap, I get it, but our people are exceptional. How do I know? Because me and Vito handpick every single person that makes our team. Some make the cut, a lot don't. And that's why you can be confident that the windows we install for you will be top quality, installed right, and that you're going to get great service. And that's never failed us. So for your home's new windows, you can count on Semper Fi to keep you safe, warm, and dry.
We keep you safe, warm, and dry, Semper Fi.
Green Bay Packers are moving on in the NFL playoffs. This after thrashing the Dallas Cowboys on Sunday afternoon in the NFC's wildcard round by a final score of 48-32.
Love, back foot, has a man wide open. It's going to be caught by Musgrave, racing towards the end zone. He is in. Touchdown, Green Bay.
Next up for the Packers is a Saturday night divisional round kickoff in San Francisco. Over to the NBA, where the Packers not the only sports team to bring a smile to Wisconsin fans on Sunday night. With the Bucks down 2 and 5 seconds remaining, Damian Lillard reminding everyone what time it is.
Lillard goes into the front court. He's going to fire up a three for the win, and he hit it! Game time has arrived!
Lillard hitting the buzzer beater 3 as the Bucks beat the Kings 143-142. With the win, Milwaukee finishes its 4-game homestand with a record of 3-1 and improves to 28-12 on the season. And lastly, the 11th ranked Marquette Golden Eagles will look to snap their 2-game losing streak with a visit with Villanova later today. That tip-off time is set for 1:30. I'm Brandon Snide, WTMJ Sports.
Johnson & Sons paving time-saver traffic. I-94 eastbound about a mile beyond the ramp from Highway 83. Look out for a disabled vehicle there on the right shoulder, blocking the shoulder there. Earlier crash on the ramp from Blue Mountain Road to I-94 west has been cleared. No other major problems to report this afternoon.
Traffic is sponsored by Ken Michaels Furniture in Brookfield, Greenfield, or downtown Milwaukee.
Shop Ken Michaels Furniture's January New Year's sale for savings up to 50% off on better quality furniture and mattresses. Showrooms in Greenfield, Brookfield, and downtown Milwaukee.
WTMJ 5-day forecast. A wind chill advisory is in effect until 9 a.m. Wednesday for all of southeast Wisconsin. Those wind chills, -15 to -30 today after a high of 4, an overnight low of -9. Wind chills again, -20 to 30. Partly cloudy, cold again tomorrow with a high of 5, and again, wind chills down to maybe 30 below. Wednesday and Thursday, mostly cloudy skies with highs 14 on Wednesday, 16 Thursday, and 14 again on Friday with a chance of light snow. Right now, Madison still 4 below. Green Bay 1, Milwaukee 1. I'm Connie Weber, citing Unlimited WTMJ News Time, 12:08.
It's the middle of the day on WTMJ. Come join the conversation on the WTMJ Talk and Text line at 855-616-1620. Now, here's Tracy Johnson.
Good afternoon, Wisconsin. Great to be with you on this Monday show after a Packers victory. We're going to talk about football today a little bit. We're going to hear from some experts who were at the game, and then we're also going to talk a little bit about football as a sport and kids. I teased that in my crosstalk with Steve Scafidi. So I will be here with you from 12 to 3 today with Aaron in the producer booth. So if you end up calling in, you will talk to Aaron. This is a big Monday program, and if you are in Packer Nation and excited like me, we are. This is what we live for, right? Is a decisive Packers playoff victory. And here's the deal: even if you aren't a huge football fan or aren't a huge Packers fan, life is just better when the Packers win. Can we all just agree? As long as you're not a Bears fan. Sorry, Aaron. Oh, but it's okay. He does it with a smile. He's so graceful about it. And I think a lot of the Packers fan or the Bears fans and even Cowboys fans are, oh man, I was scrolling through the Dallas Tribune, and this is something that I like to do when there's, sporting events and there's a decisive victory. And the headlines for the Dallas Tribune are just hilarious. They just talk about what an embarrassment that game was. They are questioning Mike McCarthy's future. Oh boy, it's going to be lots of stories to get to on that. So while I don't do the X polls like Steve does, I love to feel the energy and I love the interaction. So I'm looking for one word, all right? One word to describe this team, this Packers team. 855-616-1620. That's the WTMJ talk and text line. Just one word about this team. What is that word to describe this Packers team? They're young, they're phenomenal, they're awesome. Get creative. We'll read those words throughout the show. I hope you are with power today. Tens of thousands. Actually, that number was somewhere around 250,000 people without power. The good folks at We Energies are working hard to get everybody back online. I know that's a hardship for many. And we watched over the weekend the mayor and other city leaders, even in Waukesha County, were working hard to share the information about the shelters throughout the city and the resources that were available. Those concerns, though, still persist today as below zero temperatures continue. So I know the snow was inevitable, but I'm not a big winter sports person. This is a huge boon for winter sports and tourism. And maybe you're out today on this Martin Luther King holiday where your kids are off from school, or federal worker who's able to, take the day off, reflect, and I hope that you are with power and staying warm. There's a lot of great events happening throughout the city. Throughout the weekend, though, I had a number of plans cancel. I don't know about you, but, the weather was certainly a concern and a factor. I know Friday night we tried to go out and grab some food. Nothing was open. I know the Brewers canceled some events. Thankfully, the Bucks were not playing at home. But, I kept thinking about people who may have had like a wedding or something. How do you reschedule that when you have all these vendors that are, trying to make an event come together? One good thing, though, this is the one good thing about this ice and this snowstorm for me. I live in a subdivision, and we have a ton of these ash trees, and the weight of the snow has actually taken a lot of these trees down. So this is okay thing for me in my neighborhood. I know we saw the weather have a huge impact in Buffalo. There was supposed to be a playoff game, and that was called off. Governor Kathy Hochul called that game off. It's rescheduled for this afternoon. It's going to be a busy sports day. We've got Marquette playing. We've got the Bucks playing tonight at Fiserv Forum. We're going to have a couple of playoff games to watch as well. The weather is also making big headlines in Iowa today, as for those following the Iowa caucuses, this is the first event of the 2024 presidential election season. The caucuses take place. These are all in-person events, no mail-in caucusing. Around 150,000 Iowans are expected to be part of the caucus tonight, and we're potentially going to see some upsets. We're potentially going to have a better sense of what's happening on the presidential primary as we head to New Hampshire in South Carolina over the next couple of days. So it's foreseen that Donald Trump is going to run away with this, but who knows? I've been watching a lot of coverage over the weekend, and I'm sure we're going to have a lot of interesting conversations throughout the week. So as I mentioned, I'm excited about today's show. We'll have CJ Safer in studio with us. We'll talk about some policy measures making their way through Madison. And you're going to want to pay attention to this because this has to do with potential changes to the income tax, potential changes to your taxes. And some of these might have some real chance of getting passed. As you recall, there was a huge surplus in the state budget, And the Republicans are very motivated to try to find a way to give those dollars back to the taxpayers. And CJ and his group for the Institute of Reform in Government have been working on that for a number of months. We're also going to talk about shrinkage in retail and who is responsible. And then, of course, football. We're going to talk a lot about football. There's a hot topic of discussion. You're not going to want to miss that. But we start with a decisive Packers victory last night in Dallas. And while I'm not a stats person, it actually drives my husband crazy when I talk about sports as if I understand all the players and the context and all of that. So I'm going to stay away from that and talk a little bit bigger picture. But I know what it feels like to be a Packers fan. And again, we're seeing a lot of the one word coming in on the WTMJ talk and text line. That's 855-616-1620. What's the word to describe this team? Hungry. Team. I love this. Players plus coach equals team. Focused. These are the words. Outstanding. That's Vicki and West Bend. Thank you for that. I know when I talked to Dr. George Kuntz last week, he was in the studio with us. I'm not sure we were convinced that Packers were going to take this, but we definitely saw this happen. And I mean, did you guys see this on social media where Jordan Love helped this girl dig out of her car was stuck in the snow? So there was this picture of her, it was a selfie this girl took of Jordan Love helping, he had just helped her dig out of the snow. It was like the cutest thing ever, right? And this went viral. And then when I saw Jordan Love give his press conference after, he was just so humble. And it was just all about the team. And I've said this from the beginning, he just seems to exude leadership without being, just some quarterbacks they drive me crazy because they're so egotistical. But this guy, I think he's the real deal. And I love that he showed us in such a commanding fashion. And he had a great weekend. It was a great weekend for Jordan Love. All right, we got some more words to describe this team. We've got magical. We've got limitless. Got a couple of sentences here. Underdogs would be a single word. Yes, they were the underdogs. They weren't expected to win. All right. So some of you were probably at the game. And if you weren't at the game, I know you were watching the game. When we return, I will speak with a friend of mine who was at the game. I wanted to hear about the energy, the enthusiasm. What was it like? What was the stadium like? We will hear from him when we return. But right now it's 12:17 on WTMJ.
If you missed this,
Deputy Christine Rodriguez is with us. Do you feel like the relationship has begun to change, or how certain sectors of the community look at law enforcement has changed?
I would say it's moving in the right direction.
Or this?
Chief, do you find value in having student resource officers? And is there a connection point where you can build that positive relationship between officer and student?
The answer is yes, yes, and a resounding yes.
Check out Wisconsin's Afternoon News, the podcast.
Now, about your house. Eric Brown is the president of Siding Unlimited, your contractor for new windows, roofing, siding, decks, and a whole lot more. He knows about your house. So what do you know, Eric?
Chill in the air or just flat out cold? This time of year, we expect the weather to get cold. We know it's coming. But is your home ready? Does the cold air show you what kind of home you really have? Windows that leak air, drafty doors, or just a cold house in general? All of these problems lead to an inefficient home, high energy bills, and an uncomfortable, unhappy homeowner. There can be many temporary solutions, such as wrestling with plastic wrap on the windows, makeshift seals like a towel at the bottom of the doors, or just throwing more blankets on yourself to the point you can't move. Fighting a chilly house can be frustrating. There are real solutions, long-term solutions to stop drafts and air leaks. Solutions that maximize energy efficiency, reduce energy costs, and provide a comfort-controlled environment where you, the homeowner, can enjoy the warmth of hanging out at your home once again. Siding Unlimited provides these solutions. Our team can come out and deliver a free estimate to get the project started. We can discuss what makes the most sense for you to regain control of your home. New windows, entry doors, and siding can be the ultimate knockout blow to Mother Nature wreaking havoc in your home. We know this time of the year comes every 12 months. It's time we start preparing so moving forward, you'll be in total control.
Eric and his crews at Siding Unlimited are your go-to contractor here for replacement windows, roofing, decks, and, of course, siding. They are the best, as acknowledged by the many rewards their suppliers have conferred upon them. Now, take the next step. Check them out at sidingunlimited.com. Siding Unlimited. Siding and a whole lot more.
Welcome back.
Exciting
On WTMJ. Spectacular, dangerous, resilient, unexpected, fierce. These are all words to describe the Packers. Thank you so much for weighing in. If you want to send me your word, 855-616-1620. That's the WTMJ talk and text line. I mentioned the Dallas newspaper this morning. It was actually the Dallas Morning News. More top stories here. Cowboys' Dak Prescott knows latest playoff flop can't be dismissed. I sucked tonight. I think we can all agree and agree with Dak on his assessment of himself. But right now we have with us a fan who traveled all the way to Dallas for the game, Roy Henning. Roy, thanks for being with us today.
Oh, thanks for having me on. It was a tiring 19 hours there and back yesterday.
Okay, so you just went there yesterday morning and came back despite the weather potentially wreaking havoc on your plans.
Yes, I had a very short window to get there and back with all the work I'm doing right now. So I had a basically a once in a lifetime chance. I had a pair of free tickets to go to the in a suite down there. So one of my friends met me from Phoenix, and we both flew in that morning and flew out last night.
Wow. So describe the crowd. And I mean, I think we all know that Packers Nation showed up, but describe the crowd and the Packers fans. Just what was the energy like?
It was, well, I've never been to an opposing stadium playoff game before. Lots at Lambeau over the last 30 years. So it was interesting to see it from another perspective of all the hype and all the videos and all the ex-players. And I mean, I think they said it was announced at about 93,000. There was probably 100,000 people there. And when you looked at the crowd, you couldn't see any Packers fans. You really couldn't. I mean, we were up on the fifth level. Now, before the game, there were lots of Packer fans, but not a ton. I mean, not as many as I would have expected. But all the crowd was really, really cool. The Dallas fans were really great. We were all hanging out, having a great time before and during and even afterwards. I didn't see any angry. I think they were just so demoralized by the loss that really they had no fight left in them.
That was incredible. And some of the footage of the fans, I actually enjoyed watching it. Although if the tables were turned, it would have been really, really bad. So as you were watching the game, when did you know that this game was going to go in our favor? I mean, was it after the first touchdown in the very beginning of the game, or were you like, was that just lucky?
The first touchdown felt really good. But, after the last decade and a half of, Packers playoff collapses in games like that, you don't want to get too excited too quickly, especially when you're in an opposing stadium. So we all kind of, there was like 4 of us in the box out of 25 that were Packer fans. So we kind of, kept it silent. And, then we got the second touchdown. And the Dallas crowd was still well into it, the first drive, the second drive, the third drive. By the time it was 20-0, they were starting to really fall off. And, the owner of the box came up to me, right after Anders missed that extra point and said, I don't know there, Roy. It looks like, that could be a turning point here. And as he's speaking, we intercepted the ball and returned it back for a touchdown. He kind of turned around and walked away.
Oh, man. So describe the stadium. You mentioned 100,000 people there. AT&T Stadium is, it's well known throughout the world, the scene of multiple Super Bowls. How does this compare to Lambeau Field?
I love Lambeau Field. I really do. It is a fantastic outdoor stadium. You know, the amenities and stuff like that, you get kind of the indoor and the outdoor vibe. The AT&T Stadium is like an indoor city, is the best way I can describe it. I mean, it is just multifaceted, multi-level. There's, you know, just underground places to get, to get around the stadium. I mean, everything in there was just, it was just state of the art. I mean, you just kind of stand there and you look in awe. You know, it looks like a city, you know, just inside. So it was really great to be there and experience. I personally wouldn't want to go see a game every week there. It was a great experience to have, but I really love Lambeau.
I love it. I think a lot of Packer fans agree with you. Lambeau Field is the place to be. So as you were leaving the game, I know you said that people were really respectful, but I want to know what the chatter was after the game. Were they like, wow, that Jordan Love, or, oh, those coaches, or Mike McCarthy has to go? What were they saying?
It was very similar. So, you know, we were kind of on the other side because, you know, back when McCarthy was our coach, he coached a lot of Packer teams that were like that Cowboys team where we were the number 1, number 2 seed. We were scoring 38 points at home. We weren't giving up hardly anything. And then we get to our playoff game and it's just an utter collapse. And that's exactly what happened. I mean, if the Cowboys could have done something wrong, they did it wrong. And so the fans just saw that as well. And they were also just in utter disbelief. We rode to the airport with 2 Cowboys fans that were from California. And they weren't even mad because there was just not even one thing you could put your finger on. I mean, it was turnovers. It was no offense. It was the defense giving up wide open passes to Jordan Love. And as well as Jordan Love played, which he played obviously amazing. I mean, some of those throws, you know, great throws, but our guys were just running wide open. It was just, you know, a defensive collapse on their side, which, you know, the Cowboys just couldn't even imagine could happen. And I was trying to explain to them that I saw that on the other side in Lambeau twice, once against the Giants and once against the 49ers, where on paper, everything said we should have just destroyed them. And our team on all 3, you know, phases just collapsed. And so they were impressed with Jordan Love, but they were just in disbelief, and they didn't think really that McCarthy was going to have a job next week.
Yeah, well, I love that you have that personal experience of the Mike McCarthy meltdowns to explain to them. I love it. Roy Henning, who was at the game. So it sounds like you will travel for football. Will you be going to San Francisco to check them out next week?
Well, like I said, I got a little bit lucky in this one because I'm doing a project here in Milwaukee where we're building an indoor soccer training facility, and so the company that I'm using for the turf is the same turf that is at AT&T Stadium.
And
so that is how I got my tickets. Was the owner of the company invited me down to watch the game on 3 days' notice. But that was really, really cool. We were joking afterwards if he had any connections in San Francisco, and he did not. So I probably won't be. In addition to the fact that my cousin's getting married on Saturday, so she'd be okay with me going, but I don't think I can make another trip out as much as I'd love to out to San Francisco.
Well, I know you said you're going to a wedding on Saturday. I wonder where people's eyes will be during that event.
Well, so we were just looking because my other cousin works with me, so he's pretty sure that they're going to have a few TVs up at the reception because her future husband-to-be is a big Packer fan as well. So I think they're going to bring a few TVs in so we can watch at the reception.
I love it. We always make it work, don't we? Right here in Wisconsin.
Oh yeah.
Last question, Roy. So if you were making a prediction right now, do we roll into San Francisco and take it home, or do we?
Well, this is going to be a tough one because, I mean, they've got some film on Jordan now. And so that's the other thing, too, with Jordan Love this year is that there's a lot of, you know, you don't have a lot of looks to, you know, you can't go back through 3 or 4 years of tapes and see what his tendencies are. So, but I think that, you know, this could be an exercise, the Demons game. I mean, we've gone out there a few times and, you know, Matt LaFleur has not done well against, you know, his former coaches. But this could be one where, you know, again, they knew what they had when Aaron Rodgers was back there, and they knew exactly what he was going to do. And I think with the fact that we have, 10 receivers or 8 receivers with over 200 yards, you never know where the ball's going. And so the defense can't key in on Devontae Adams or on one player. So I think we actually have a good shot. I was calling the game, the Cowboys game, 31-28, victory for us before the game. I think we can do that again. I think it could be a 31-28 game. And Brock Purdy has shown that he can throw interceptions, and, apparently now we can pick up the ball. So I think there's a really good shot the Packers coming away with a victory again.
I appreciate and love your optimism. We have been underdogs before, so let's go to San Francisco. This is all gravy at this point, right? We weren't even expected to go this far. So I am loving it.
Yeah, and the fact that, I've talked to a few other former players, and when there's no expectations on the team whatsoever, at this point there's absolutely zero. No expectation for them to do anything. The players have no pressure on them. So they just go in. They're having a grand old time. I mean, this is their first, second year. They don't have these years of painful Packers losses, from a few years ago. So they don't know what that's like. They're just going to go in and play and just have a good time, and whatever happens, happens. And those are the really dangerous teams. There are teams that, they're just out there. They're going to have a good time. And, if they lose, no one's going to be talking about how the Packers are awful because they lost. It's, hey, they were supposed to lose. But if they win, it's a big accomplishment.
Roy Henning, thank you so much for sharing your experience watching the Packers just roll over the Dallas Cowboys yesterday evening. Thank you so much.
It is now my top 3 games that I've ever seen live, along with the 2 playoff games in '96 up at Lambeau when we first won the Super Bowl. So it's indescribable how amazing it was to watch that live.
I can hear the energy and enthusiasm, and Packer Nation is with you. Roy, thank you so much. We'll be watching with you next Saturday. Go Pack, go.
Go Pack. Thank you so much, Trace. Appreciate it.
All right. It's 12:31 on WTMJ.
For the latest on Capitol Hill, tune in to CBS's Chief Washington Correspondent, Major Garrett.
Look, everyone understands a certain amount of privacy, but guess what? You become a cabinet secretary, you give up some of your privacy. That's what comes with the job, and everybody knows. And I would say this of a cabinet secretary in the Obama administration, the George W. Bush administration, the Clinton administration, all of which I covered, the Trump administration, or the Biden administration.
Thursdays at 3:45 on Wisconsin's Afternoon News.
AccuNet Mortgage is an equal housing lender. NMLS ID 255368.
Flimsy, feeble, flaccid. That's how you can describe most pre-approval letters these days. Heck, a lot of big banks issue pre-approval letters using soft credit pulls instead of real credit reports. Do you really want to compete in today's still low inventory market with a soft credit pull and a pre-approval that's silent on 2 of the 3 critical elements of a mortgage approval? A rock-solid guaranteed pre-approval from AccuNet not only verifies your credit with a real credit report, we also verify your income and down payment, and then issue a letter with a $2,000 guarantee to back it up. And now, AccuNet is issuing property-specific pre-approvals that often come with this sweet phrase: no appraisal required. That's right, AccuNet may be able to issue your pre-approval at or above the seller's asking price without needing an appraisal. Today's home market is still a metaphorical knife fight. Your bank is offering you, well, a pocket knife. AccuNet is Crocodile Dundee. Now that's a knife, mate. Click on the blue button today at accunet.com.
WTMJ's Vince Vitrano for Orthopedic Associates of Wisconsin. Injuries happen, but you don't have to play in pain or stay on the sidelines. Whether it's your kids dealing with a sports injury, college athletes, or the rest of us weekend warriors, the experts at Orthopedic Associates of Wisconsin will quickly diagnose your problem, lay out a treatment plan that works for you, and get you back in the game. They fixed my knee. My mother-in-law is back on the dance floor with a new hip. These are the experts you can trust. Visit orthowisconsin.com.
Outdoor living is a cherished experience here, especially in the warm season. Outdoor Living Unlimited is a local family-owned company that will revolutionize outdoor living at your home. Visualize your home and yard with an in-ground pool, screen room, pergola, patio, pavers, deck, even an outdoor kitchen. Get with Outdoor Living Unlimited and put that dream into action. The honest, reliable artists and craftsmen will be honored to work with you. OutdoorLivingUnlimited.com.
All right. Welcome back to a Victory Packers Monday. Is that what Steve calls it? It's a great day in Wisconsin if you are a Packers fan. I had asked for you to text in one word to describe this team. And everything is positive here. Spectacular, unexpected, hopeful. One texter suggests, I think a lot of it had to do with how good the Packers played and not necessarily how terribly the Cowboys played. I like that take. Even though Dak Prescott said, I sucked, which we can all agree. Maybe it was more about how well the Packers played. So we will be basking in this victory for a while, for a week at least, until the next game in San Francisco at 7:00 next Saturday. So we'll be also following what happens with Mike McCarthy. I love the takes that people have that this could be his end here. So we will continue to follow that, the future of Mike McCarthy in Dallas. All right. When we return, we're going to shift gears a little bit to talk with CJ Safer from the Institute for Reforming Government. He is joining us on Mondays at 12:30, really to talk about a policy in Wisconsin, the issues that impact you. I love how CJ can dissect an issue, dissect the legislation, make sure communicating why it's relevant, how it's relevant, where it is in the process. His organization is really involved in making sure that a lot of these very helpful positive changes are happening in our state. And the legislature is meeting currently to move through lots of really comprehensive reforms. We talked last week about medical marijuana. They're considering some income tax reforms. Lots of really good things happening in Madison right now. But when we come back, CJ will be with us in studio on WTMJ. It's 12:35.
January. I know. Not the greatest always, right? WTMJ's John Mercure here. If you've got the January blues, brighten up your Monday and Tuesday with a free dinner at the historic Fox and Hound Supper Club, voted the best supper club in the area. Enjoy any steak, seafood, pan-fried walleye, a fresh salad, the steak and lobster, anything on the menu. You got it. Your second dinner is always free. Desserts and those huge ice cream drinks are buy one, get one free. I think it's the best part of the meal. Sip on an old-fashioned. Check out the Manhattan, bourbon, 100 wines, ice-cold beer out of the tap. The Fox and Hounds in the heart of the Kettle Moraine Forest is truly a one-of-a-kind gem. The holiday decorations are still up with thousands of lights, the Christmas characters. It's a must-see, and those 7 wood-burning fireplaces keep you warm on a cold January night. Nice and cozy. Just off Highway 167, 2 miles east of the famous Holy Hill Shrine. The drive is beautiful. Enjoy your free dinner tonight. Reserve at foxandhoundsrestaurant.com.
They were talking about doing a few things to spruce up their home, and I knew where they were coming from. Sometimes you don't even realize it, but then it hits you. You've had the same look in your home forever. And that's why Jan and Bob came to see me. And I told them they came to the right place. Because here, you'll find a bunch of choices to spruce up your home for less. They had a stone fireplace with empty walls on either side. I suggested glass shelves. She hated their old bathtub, so I showed her our glass shower door displays. They had kind of a small living room, so I thought strip mirrors would really open it up. And after we priced out my suggestions, they were surprised at the bottom line. Wait till they see their home after we're through. This is Stacy Sinks with Less's Glass Service. If it's a new glass shower door, fogged or broken insulated glass replacement, or affordable glass and mirror home decor that you've been looking for, you just can't pass on Less's Glass. Less's Glass Service, serving all of southeastern Wisconsin. Find us at lessglassservice.com.
Love and happiness.
Welcome back on WTMJ. I'm Tracy Johnson, in with you in the studio until 3 o'clock today. But right now we are joined by CJ Safer. He's the CEO for Institute for Reforming Government. His organization does a deep dive into policy issues, regulatory issues across the state of Wisconsin. And he's doing a ton of work right now around tax issues. Last week we talked about education. This week we're going to talk about some of the tax issues that are happening in the legislature right now. CJ, welcome to the show.
Happy Monday. How are we doing?
Great to be with you and to have your daughter in studio, Nadia. Welcome. I know she can't speak because the microphone's not on, but she's joining us because she's off of school today, like many children across the state for MLK Day.
This might be her 4th or 5th appearance on WTMJ.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
I didn't know we had a veteran here. All right. Well, maybe in the next segment, we'll have you pop on. You can talk about tax policy, right?
Education, homework, bedtime.
Oh, yeah. We got a pro in the studio. All right. So talking about what's happening in the legislature right now, it is an active environment, and there's lots of bills going through on education, but tax policy is where we want to spend some time today. What is your read and what's your take, and what are some of the really important focused issues?
Let's start at the beginning, which is that we're going to finish the 2023 to 2025 budget session with right now a projected $4 billion surplus. That means that the state is projected to take in $4 billion more than it spends. So many people view this as the state is sitting on taxpayer money from hardworking Wisconsinites. So naturally, a lot of people across the state are wondering, well, what's going to happen with this huge surplus? It used to be a lot bigger. The budget before was passed. Now it's down to $4 billion. But by historical standards, that's still massive. Last Monday when I was on, we talked about how Governor Walker inherited a $3 billion deficit. We're now at a $4 billion surplus. We'll talk about some of the past policies, but right now, Republicans and Democrats are talking about how do we send some of the money back. Tax policy is very divisive in the Wisconsin legislature. Two clear, different philosophies of how we view taxing and spending. But there's probably 3 big initiatives now that I think have a reasonable chance at passing. First, we have a plan to eliminate taxes for retirees and retirement income. Think about IRAs, 401k plans, pensions. Right now, that's taxed. State Representative Stephan has a proposal out that would essentially no longer tax that retirement income for those 67 or older. It's got some bipartisan support. State Senator Lena Taylor and Representative Myers from Milwaukee have both expressed some interest in it. That I think Representative Voss and Majority Leader Lemieux have also echoed support. So I think that's got a reasonable chance at passing.
CJ, when we talk about the taxes on retirees, tax exempt status for retirees, this would be up to $100,000 in retirement income. How many people does this really impact? And is the focus really to try to keep retirees here? Because so often you see people hit 67 or hit retirement age and they live in Wisconsin 1 day short of 6 months so that they can claim that out-of-state status.
Well, look, I mean, it's going to hit about 99% of retirees. There's no real numbers yet that I've seen on how many people that actually is. Mm-hmm. But chances are, if you're retired, this is going to impact you. And I think it's going to be a huge deal because a lot of people, yes, there's reasons why people move to the South. The weather is so much better. It's negative 20 degrees today.
Yes.
It's so cold I can't even shovel. But at the same time, we can impact tax policy and spending policy, and trying to do something like exempting income or exempting taxes from retirement income. Iowa just did it, and many other states do it. I think it's imperative that Wisconsin try to keep up, and this is a trend that many are doing. In a perfect world, we exempt income across the board. We exempt taxes for as many people across the board as possible. We'll talk about that. But I think if we can get a bipartisan solution to go after the retirees, I do think that's going to help keep more retirees here, which means they get to stay with their families. Mm-hmm. But also from a tax standpoint, they keep here, they spend money here, right. They can continue to vote here.
And they can keep their properties intact. I know That's a huge push to make sure that we're taking care of our retirees and that they can stay close to their families. There's another group of individuals that you're advocating for tax reform, as it has to do with overtime. How does that work?
We heard from some businesses. We heard from a lot of businesses in the last few years that we've talked to, manufacturers, small businesses that pay hourly employees. And look, worker shortage, we hear about it all the time. You probably hear about it all the time in the business world, too, in the Milwaukee area. We just don't have enough workers in Wisconsin. That's a major issue that's, like, let's just be honest, not going to be solved overnight. Maybe not even a silver bullet solution, but there's some things that can help it. And this is just simply saying, if you're going to continue to work more, if you're an hourly employee, you're going to work overtime. We're not going to tax overtime work from income taxes. There's two main benefits why we've liked it. One would be it puts more money back in workers' pockets. Again, trying to get the surplus back to the people. You think of hardworking Wisconsinites in the manufacturing area, all in stores all across the state. This puts more money back into their pockets. The second is it's an incentive for workers to work more. And if you're an employer, if you're a manufacturer, you can't find an additional employee. Well, maybe we can get employees to work a little more that you have, and this kind of might be that extra bump to help incentivize some people.
And before we go to break, CJ, any other closing thoughts on the tax reform or potentially a flat tax for Wisconsin?
Look, we'll talk about it next segment. There's real philosophical differences. Governor Evers has vetoed multiple tax plans, including one that would have been the largest income tax cut ever last summer. Majority Leader Devin LeMahieu is out with a new plan that would cut taxes for those making up to $200,000 from 5.3% to 4.4%. It's got a reasonable chance of passing, but again, it's the state legislature, so you never really know.
All right, we'll talk more about that when we return. Right now, it's 12:45. We have CJ Safer from the Institute of Reforming Government in the studio with us today, right here on WTMJ.
Hey, this is WTMJ Steve Committee for Heiser Automotive. I love talking about Heiser. You know that. I've had the privilege and the honor of driving their vehicles for the last 5 years. My newest vehicle, a 2023 Ford Explorer XLT four-wheel drive, perfect for the upcoming Wisconsin winter weather. Beautiful Atlas blue metallic color. Everybody talks about it when they see it. A great technology vehicle. Auto start-stop technology, 10-speed automatic transmission, terrain management system. How about this? 23 combined mileage highway and city. Awesome for an SUV. Heated exterior mirrors. Very cool. Roof rails, keyless access, heated front seats. Use that over the weekend. Second row captain's chairs, an upgraded interior trim. All the other great programs, Safe and Sound, vehicle exchange program, roadside assistance for life. Heiser even has options for mobile services for the Ford locations, 5 convenient locations to get your vehicle ready for the upcoming weather. That's why they say every day, today is your day.
Are you curious about QC Kinetics? Let me tell you what we do.
That's Dr. Daniel Zuckerman, a medical director at QC Kinetics.
We treat people who have joint pain, and we use your body's healing properties, the things that you already have in you, in your blood, to heal your knee pain, your joint pain, your shoulder pain, your back pain. You have everything that you need in you already.
The same natural process that heals a cut on your finger also works inside your body.
And so what we do at QC Kinetics is take those healing properties, concentrate them down from your body, and put them where they need to go. We are the experts in regenerative medicine. That's all we do.
And best of all, there's no surgery, no downtime, or harmful drugs.
This is the future of medicine.
And your consultation is completely free. Call QC Kinetics, 414-285-3474. That's 414-285-3474. 414-285-3474.
Shop the January New Year's sale on better quality furniture and mattresses at Ken Michaels Furniture.
A jewelry store can be a pretty scary place. It's full of diamonds and gold, and sometimes the salespeople can make you feel like you really don't belong.
Who wants to feel like that? Buying a diamond should be one of the happiest and most exciting moments of your life, and we promise to make it that way for you. Cross my heart. No matter your age, how you're dressed, or how much money you have, you're going to have a magical experience when you come to Kessler's.
You're going to see the largest selection of diamond engagement rings in one place at one time than you've ever seen in your life.
Looking at rings is a wonderful way to spend time together. And when you find the ring you know is the one, but cash might be a little tight, we've got fantastic financing available and we'll work hard to get you approved.
We're on your side. Kessler's is always on your side. We're 8 stores strong with 6 locations in Wisconsin and 2 in Grand Rapids, Michigan. We'd be thrilled to have you stop in and see what we're all about.
Welcome back on WTMJ. Tax reform could be in our future here in Wisconsin. CJ Safer is filling us in. So we talk about a flat tax. What exactly is that? And is there any likelihood that this will be in the future for Wisconsinites?
Well, the flat tax is just a basic principle that everyone should pay the same tax rate. It's something that I think it's an idea that's been around for a long period of time. State Senator, Majority Leader Devin LeMahieu is one of the bigger proponents in the state legislature. He proposed a 3.25% flat tax, and that's every individual would pay 3.25%. There'd be their exemptions. It's something that I think really does garner a lot of merit. There's been a number of economic studies, including our friends at the University of Wisconsin, that showed that Majority Leader LeMahieu's flat tax plan, 3.25%, it would be a $3 billion cut, and the average family would get about $660 back. It's something that I think it deserves a lot of merit. It's a huge tax cut for small businesses. Look, at the end of the day, Wisconsin has about the 8th highest top rate for income taxes. 8th highest in the entire country. So when you think about individuals that pay the income tax, I think a lot of people think of very wealthy individuals. And yes, we want to keep them from leaving Wisconsin, but also it's small businesses. About half of Wisconsin's workforce is employed by small businesses that pay the highest tax rate. So we are this income tax rate that we have, the highest rate being 7%, that's 8th highest in the country. That's being paid by predominantly most small businesses, which is really the backbone of Wisconsin's economy. So we have to find a way to overhaul our tax system.
So is the fact that we have this surplus kind of making this a more digestible proposition for bipartisan support?
Last legislative session, or last summer, the Wisconsin Republicans, a bill that my organization advocated for and supported, which would have been the largest income tax cut tax rates across the board. Every single tax rate would have had a huge tax cut. Governor Evers vetoed it predominantly because it would have cut taxes at that top rate. Mm-hmm. And he said he doesn't want to cut taxes for the rich, right? This is one of the most common talking points from the progressive left. We look at this and say, well, look, there's job creators. There's people that, have a lot of money that we want to keep in Wisconsin. We think that we need to kind of get as much economic growth as possible, and that requires going after that top rate. That's why my organization, the Institute for Reforming Government, about 2 years ago, was the first one in the state to release a plan to eliminate the income tax, because we think that Wisconsin has to be the best in the Midwest for taxes, and that requires turning that dial for the income tax rate. I would go beyond a flat tax. I would just find every way possible to get our tax rate down to zero.
And what other states have done this? Didn't Indiana just pass legislation, or a couple other states have this, right?
Oh.
And these are the states where everybody is flocking to, right? Tennessee and Florida, Texas.
10 states have it. Many more are going. Arkansas, Iowa, Indiana, they're on the track to get rid of the income tax. It's incredibly hard work. But look, we live in a time where states are hyper competitive for families, for jobs, for businesses, for corporations. And every policymaker in Madison needs to ask themselves, do we want Wisconsin to go towards Minnesota to be one of the higher tax states? Or do we want to go towards Tennessee and be a low tax state? And we should want all the jobs to be coming here. So we've always implored Wisconsin to develop a vision to every year get closer to getting rid of the income tax as we possibly can. That requires driving the rates down as much as possible for everybody. It's a plan that would help the middle class. It would help job creators. It would help small businesses. And then we also have to get spending under control too, because you can't have it both ways. You can't cut taxes without trying to control spending, because we spend a lot of money in Wisconsin.
Well, and this is where, when we talk about having the bipartisan support, where I think you do a great job of laying out the facts, laying out the numbers, and really making the case. Really, this isn't about politics, and it shouldn't be a partisan issue. I want to switch. So we were talking about Devin LeMahieu and some of his comments he made around the tax when he rolled this out. He also made a comment about the medical marijuana bill, which I know gets a lot of attention. It's a hot topic that we're all talking about. This was introduced last week by Robin Voss. The Senate is meeting on this issue. Majority Leader, Devin LeMahieu said, I'm not sure this is going to go very far, but what do you think? You have a kind of a broader perspective.
Look, I mean, we're talking about marijuana. We're talking about something that I think is debated a lot. It's to some extent in Wisconsin, it's polarizing. We don't see this as much in like other states.
You think?
In the legislature, it's very polarizing. And the Assembly's bill would create 5 state-run dispensaries. That got a lot of criticism on the right. Got a lot of criticism from conservative talk radio and influencers. It would be run by the state, by the DHS, with a new position that would oversee the program. So again, you got growing government, which would obviously cause some Republicans a little bit of concern. I've not seen a lot of senators that have publicly supported it. And just the sheer fact that we would be the only state with state-run dispensaries, I think that kind of causes some people some concern too. No one ever wants to be like the first, right? We kind of want to follow what other states are doing too. I think it's got a very difficult path to get to Governor Evers' desk.
Wow, and we had Majority Leader Tyler Augustin last week, and he was feeling optimistic.
Look, I mean, he knows the state. He knows the caucuses, and he knows state government far better than me. But there's just also not a lot of days left. I mean, it's a very tight session. End of February, early March is when they're going to want to try to leave. And the other problem you have in the legislature is you have a lot of folks that want full legalization of marijuana. This is not that. This is kind of like that halfway.
Right.
And sometimes you can't. It's hard to get a big winning coalition without going all the way there.
Well, nothing difficult or nothing good is worth doing if it's easy, right? I mean, anything that's going to have a strong outcome, I think is going to be really difficult. And like you said, it's going to require us to build the coalition, build consensus, regardless of what that is. All right, more with CJ Safer from the Institute of Reforming Government. When we come back, it's 12:56.
Oh, I'm already running late. Let's go.
There is a backup on I-94 eastbound.
Wait, is that Debbie Lazaga?
Expect delays.
Well, how bad is it?
Alternate routes will help you in your journey.
I feel better. Get where you need to go calmly with traffic reporter Debbie Lazaga, only on News Radio WTMJ.
Follow me on social.
Hi, folks. This is Hank Albert, owner of BBC Lighting. With the weather getting colder, our prices get even hotter. And at our showroom, you'll see all the top brands of lighting and ceiling fans, such as Visual Comfort, Monte Carlo, and more. Our new in-store visual technology will allow you to find every light and fan from every major brand, including their price and description. And our prices are always the lowest. I guarantee it. If it's lampshades or repairs you need, we do all that too. There's something for everyone at BBC, including fun for Dad and the kids, and our famous free popcorn. BBC is open Monday through Saturday and is located at 20th and St. Paul Avenue, across from Sobelman's and Bachman Furniture, all near the Potawatomi Casino. Stay safe and healthy, my friends.
Get a tax refund advance loan at Jackson Hewitt now. No fee refund advance is offered to eligible clients. Application required. Loans by Republic Bank. Details at jacksonhewitt.com.
Your financial life is about way more than investments. There's also taxes, insurance, estate planning, and other elements that need to be considered. Find out what your financial plan may be missing with a free Wealth Path analysis from Creative Planning. A Wealth Path analysis is a blueprint for your completely customized plan, built to maximize your wealth and ensure all aspects of your wealth are working harder together. This offer is only good till Monday at midnight. That's creativeplanning.com/radio.
Explore outdoor living this Saturday from Eric Brown, the president of Outdoor Living Unlimited. He knows his stuff. They expand your living space with decks, patios, fire pits, even outdoor kitchens, and can show you a virtual reality of it all for starters. Outdoor Living Unlimited did a great job at the Matzik household. We love it. So listen and call Eric this Saturday on WTMJ's Fix It Show and check out OutdoorLivingUnlimited.com.
Heart disease won't stop us. Diabetes won't slow us down. Allergies, high blood pressure, shoulder pain, cancer. Nothing will keep us from pushing Wisconsin ahead. Because with the Freighter and the Medical College of Wisconsin Health Network, forward progress is what we stand for. That means always pushing and always innovating. With new technologies and breakthrough treatments that make life better, whether we're sick or well. It means providing more convenience and more ways to receive medical excellence for all your health needs, for big and small. It means being there for you, our family, caring for yours. So let's keep raising the bar. Let's keep testing the limits of what medicine can do. Let's push ahead and make life here as great as it can be. Visit Freighter.com to find out how.
WTMJ, W277CV, and WKTI HD2 Milwaukee. From the Annex Wealth Management Studios, this is News Radio WTMJ, a Good Karma brand station. Your locally owned hometown station gives you the news and what it means to you. Wisconsin's radio station, News Radio 620, WTMJ, Milwaukee.
1 o'clock, we're at 2 degrees. High today of 4. Wind chills minus 15 to minus 30. There is a wind chill advisory in effect until 9 a.m. Wednesday for all of southeast Wisconsin. From the WTMJ Breaking News Center, I'm Connie Weber. One person has died after a house fire near Burleigh and 9th Street.
Milwaukee Fire confirming a 62-year-old woman died in the fire, which happened shortly before 3:30 this morning on the second floor of a house on North 9th Street. An elderly man also hospitalized. MFD saying the smoke alarms in the house were present, but they were not functional. Landlords are required by law to provide working smoke detectors, and if you own your place, you can call the Milwaukee Fire Department's smoke alarm hotline, and firefighters will install a smoke alarm for free at your condo, single-family home, or duplex. Wyatt Barmore-Pooley, WTMJ News.
We Energies has restored power to about 255,000 customers since Friday, still about 5,100 without power. Utility spokesman Brendan Conway tells WTMJ those without electricity should take necessary steps if their homes become too cold.
Anyone without power, without heat, call 211. They can direct you to some resources. We would certainly say if you get to a place where you feel like it's uncomfortable, you probably should, look around and see if there's somewhere else to stay where it's a little bit warmer.
It's going to be frigid temperatures in Iowa today with the Iowa caucuses underway. That state speaks first in the race for the White House. President Donald Trump way ahead in the polls there. Florida Governor Ron DeSantis and former Ambassador Nikki Haley, businessman Vivek Ramaswamy running well behind. It's not a primary, it's a caucus.
It's a tradition. They've done it forever here.
TMJ4 News chief political reporter Charles Benson is in Iowa, where their process is far different than the Wisconsin primary.
You got to show up tonight at 7 o'clock, whether it's the local school or the local library or in some rural areas, even someone's home.
A duty Iowans on both sides of the aisle take seriously, although
it's going to be so cold here. The turnout is so unpredictable.
Vince Vetrano, WTMJ News.
We could see results out of Iowa by about 8:30 tonight. Meanwhile, former President Trump has lost an experienced defense attorney from his legal roster.
Defense attorney Joe Tacopina told ABC News, "I withdrew on all matters related to his now former client, Donald Trump." Tacopina accompanied Trump to his arraignment in the Manhattan criminal case over how Trump accounted for a hush payment to porn actress Stormy Daniels. In a letter to the court, Tacopina said, "I hereby withdraw as counsel for defendant Donald J. Trump." The letter did not give a reason. Tacopina also represented Trump in the civil defamation and battery case he lost to E. Jean Carroll, and he will no longer handle the appeal. Aaron Katursky, ABC News, New York.
A major redevelopment of the Urban Ecology Center's Washington Park location.
The Washington Park location will expand its field trip programming from 13 to 31 nearby schools after a new 2-story building is completed this fall.
Field experiences focused on their science education. Whatever they're learning in the classroom at the time is then paired with an experience at Washington Park.
Executive Director Jen Hensey tells WTMJ that students will also get to use a new observation deck and explore an additional 10 acres of green space.
They're building ownership of a green space that's close to them that they can get on their bike or get on a bus, and come back to.
Jessica Gatso, WTMJ News.
Grade school students in Milwaukee being honored today for their award-winning essays about Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Some of the winners read their work at the annual YMCA MLK event at Potawatomi Casino this morning. The YMCA's Leela Wright described the winners to 1017 The Truth.
These kids are so brave, putting themselves out there, their original thought, putting it on paper, speaking it to a room full of 800 people.
The essay winners will also be honored during a Dr. King celebration at the Milwaukee Markets Performing Arts Center. Time for news about your money. The WTMJ Annex Wealth Management Market Update. Markets are closed today for the King Day holiday. 2024 is here. Be ready with investment, retirement tax, and estate planning from a fee-only fiduciary. Click the Get Started button at annexwealth.com. Sports, traffic, and weather are next. Citing Unlimited, WTMJ News Time 104.
This report is brought to you by Rejuvenix, your non-surgical joint therapy experts.
It's the last resort that comes with a grueling and painful recovery. And from what I've been told, it never really feels quite natural. A total knee replacement may make the pain you're living with eventually go away, but it opens up a Pandora's box of other possible issues. And that's why surgeons who really do care will tell you that it's a last resort. There are other surgeons who cry, "Replace! Replace!" But the physicians you'll find at Rejuvenix are primarily concerned with relief. And you may find out that the relief we give you helps so much so that you may not need to get that total knee replacement. This is Richard Salinas, registered nurse with Rejuvenix Arthritis Clinics. Our FDA-approved pain treatments aid inflammation and lubricate your joints. And in most cases, insurance has been shown to cover the costs. At Rejuvenix, we can alleviate your pain, and that'll rejuvenate your life. Go to rejuvenex.com to request your appointment.
This is Brad Youngbluth with Semper Fi Roofing and Exteriors, your local veteran-owned and operated exterior remodeling company. The Energy Star ratings for windows are getting a lot tougher to get the tax credits, so you're going to want to take advantage of. Fortunately, we still have options that will qualify you for those tax credits. Now, I can sit here and talk benefits of this product or what's great about that product. So can everybody else. But what a lot of operations can't do is with complete confidence stand behind the crew that's going to be on that next job. Talk is cheap, I get it, but our people are exceptional. How do I know? Because me and Vito handpick every single person that makes our team. Some make the cut, a lot don't. And that's why you can be confident that the windows we install for you will be top quality, installed right, and that you're going to get great service. And that's never failed us. So for your home's new windows, you can count on Semper Fi to keep you safe, warm, and dry.
We keep you safe, warm, and dry. Semper Fi.
Green Bay Packers are moving on in the NFL playoffs. This after thrashing the Dallas Cowboys on Sunday afternoon in the NFC's wildcard round by a final score of 48-32.
Love, back foot, has a man wide open. It's going to be caught by Musgrave, racing towards the end zone. He is in. Touchdown, Green Bay.
Next up for the Packers is a Saturday night divisional round kickoff in San Francisco. Over to the NBA, where the Packers not the only sports team to bring a smile to Wisconsin fans on Sunday night. With the Bucks down 2 and 5 seconds remaining, Damian Lillard reminding everyone what time it is.
Lillard goes into the front court. He's going to fire up a three for the win, and he hit it! Game time has arrived!
Lillard hitting the buzzer beater 3 as the Bucks beat the Kings 143-142. With the win, Milwaukee finishes its 4-game homestand with a record of 3-1 and improves to 28-12 on the season. And lastly, the 11th ranked Marquette Golden Eagles will look to snap their 2-game losing streak with a visit with Villanova later today. That tip-off time is set for 1:30. I'm Brandon Snide, WTMJ Sports.
Taking a look at your roads with your Johnson & Sons paving time saver traffic. A new crash to report this hour. I-94 west at 35th Street. That right lane is blocked due to a crash in that area. No other major delays to report this afternoon.
Traffic is sponsored by Richlands Tire and Service Center.
Richlands Tire and Service Centers. 5 locations and all easy to find. Visit richlands.com when you're due for service.
WTMJ 5-day forecast. There is a wind chill advisory in effect until 9 a.m. Wednesday. We could see wind chills down to 30 below today, tonight, and tomorrow. Today's high 4, then overnight lows tonight -9 degrees. Tuesday, partly cloudy with a high of 5. Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, we're back into double digits. Mostly cloudy Wednesday with a high 14. Thursday, 16, and Friday again 14 with a chance of light snow. Right now, Madison still at -2, Green Bay 2, Milwaukee 2 degrees. I'm Connie Weber. Unlimited WTMJ News Time 108.
It's the middle of the day on WTMJ. Come join the conversation on the WTMJ Talk and Text line at 855-616-1620. Now, here's Tracy Johnson.
We continue to get those words. What's the one word for this Packers team? 855-616-1620. Text that to the WTMJ Talk and Text line. We're still in studio with CJ Safer. I had one final question I want to ask him, but he brought with him today his daughter, Nadia, who is with us. Nadia, say hello. Hi, you are off today in observance of the Martin Luther King holiday?
Mm-hmm.
All right. So did you watch the Packer game last night?
Yeah, most of it.
All right. What do you have a word used to describe how you felt after they won?
Well, I didn't watch the ending, but this when we stopped watching the game, when the score was they were winning by a decent amount.
Yep.
So I would say that that it's a really good win. Yeah.
All right. So you're off of school today, as we mentioned. Which school do you go to?
Underwood Elementary STEM.
Very nice. And what's your favorite part of school?
Well, I like my teacher, Miss Serrano.
Nice.
And I like how she teaches reading.
Very nice.
Reading. Yeah.
All right. So a superstar in the making, and you're very good on the microphone. So very well done. Good job, Dad.
Thank you.
All right, CJ, one final point that I just wanted to talk about before we tease what will be up next week. Milwaukee Public School announced that they would be having a referendum on the spring ballot measure. This was decided at the school board meeting on Thursday night. Describe that and describe that decision as you see it, and if there are any issues you see in terms of getting this passed.
Last week, as you mentioned, the MPS school board approved a $252 million referendum, which is actually more than what the district asked for. And that's going to be going to the ballot to voters in April for the spring election. They're going to be voting on a $252 million referendum. It's going to increase property taxes on average a little over $200. It's going to be, a really big deal. MPS went to referendum in 2020. That was for about an $80-90 million referendum. So now this is 252. It is massive. I mean, this is something that is happening all too often with districts all across the state. There's a number of reasons, some of them plausible, some of them not. But look, at the end of the day, there's I think two really big things that people, as they digest the news of MPS going to referendum to pay for more facilities, pay for more programming.
Technology was a big reason they were looking for that, is to in mental health services, teacher pay, all of that.
Look, I mean, let's say that there's three things that people need to keep in mind. First, the Milwaukee Public Schools and the Milwaukee education system is so dramatically different than how it used to be. It used to be a system with 100,000 students attending MPS, the traditional public school. In 2018, it was 75,000. Now it's about 67,000. A dramatic drop in students, enrollment drop. During that time of massive enrollment drop, we've seen the MPS budget has increased by about 30%, adjusted for inflation. So something's not keeping up, right? We're continuing to spend a lot more. The enrollment's going a lot down. The second thing is, because of such enrollment shocks, we have a facilities issue. My colleague Quentin Claybon has written about this. He said that there's about 40 schools in MPS that are less than 60% full, 40 schools that are less than 60% full. So there's a lot of duplications when it comes to paying for heating and just for maintenance for classrooms that are empty. And I think 3, this is really hard on working families. Look, Milwaukee, as everyone knows, like this is in the north side and the south side, we deal with poverty. We deal with a lot of really issues that are impacting the community. So to go back to those families, go back to those hardworking families and ask for more money.
Yeah.
It's going to be, it's probably going to pass because that's what because that's what, we all like to spend more money on schools, but it's going to take an economic toll on these families.
Well, and to point out, 78% of voters in the last referendum for MPS. So, I mean, these constituents, these voters, like you said, they're very favorable. And there's always that debate, is referenda what we should be looking at in terms of raising dollars for school? Because as you know, we have the cap for statute on what can be given to schools. So is there a better way? And that's something that I always grapple with. But at the end of the day, you compound this referendum, which we believe will pass. You have the property taxes. We saw that increase. And then you have a sales tax. And at some point, these voters are going to break. And I just don't know if there's going to be an appetite.
You're making it hard as possible to be a middle-class family in Milwaukee. Middle-class families are the backbone of our city. You're making it as hard as possible to live in Milwaukee, making it more, economically beneficial to live in Washington or Waukesha County. But I'll leave this on two big notes on this. One, plug for tomorrow. IRG tomorrow is releasing a update for its COVID audit. We audited every single school district on how it spent COVID dollars. Milwaukee Public Schools has spent a tremendous amount of money, and they have received a tremendous amount of money, hundreds of millions of dollars from the feds, from D.C. I think there's going to be a lot of questions in that report that go to where is MPS spending the money that they've received from COVID. And 2 is, again, to go back to that, like, what do we want Milwaukee's education to be like? Because this $252 million referendum only goes to students who are attending traditional Milwaukee public schools. But as we've seen, the enrollment has declined. 1 out of every 3 kids in Milwaukee does not attend a traditional MPS school. We have student vouchers through the Milwaukee Parental Choice. We have independent charters. They're getting nothing out of this referendum. That doesn't make sense. It doesn't seem fair to me.
Well, it'll be interesting because at the end of the day, this does become kind of a marketing campaign, and there's going to be a lot of PR. There's going to be a lot of people who are championing this issue and making the case. And the beautiful thing, though, about referenda is that it is up to the voters, and the voters decide. So it's hard for me to criticize. If you want to tax yourself more, go ahead and do it. All right, CJ Safer, thank you so much for being with us. We'll be back again next week at 12:30. We'll talk about the state of the state, maybe some follow-up on other legislative issues. But right now, it's 1:16 on WTMJ.
Get inside the mind of Mark Tauscher.
I think that there should be no timeline on when you can start a snowblower up.
See the world from his perspective.
It's not like a noise machine. It's loud, it's obnoxious, it's gaseous.
On Wisconsin's Morning News, every day at 7:50.
I don't think there's anything sleep-inducing about a snowblower. Oh, that is soothing.
There you go.
I'm gonna take a nap.
Presented by your Wisconsin Chevy dealers, Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin, and Kohler Services.
So, Jason, we're all about same-day repair.
7 days a week.
But that's huge.
Yeah, it is.
Being on call for Capital customers.
Nights, weekends, and holidays.
We should make a bigger deal about it.
What, like same-day repair?
10,080 minutes a week.
That is not catchy, Seth.
No?
How about same-day repair?
168 hours a week.
That may be worse.
Really?
7 days a week is crystal clear.
And still a big deal.
The biggest.
Nobody does it.
That's why I started Capital.
Somebody needed to care.
Capital Cares is not a slogan.
We prove it every day.
Seth, we got a furnace down.
Let's go.
Same-day repair.
604,800 seconds a week.
This is why you don't write our ads.
Capital repairs your furnace same day, 7 days a week. Call us today or go online at callcapitalcares.com.
I know you have a great dog, right? But you know there's room for improvement. At Sit Means Sit Dog Training, we can help. Our attention-based training system uses modern technology to help you better communicate with your dog, even in high distraction. When you schedule a free consultation with us, you will have the opportunity to see our training in action and meet for yourself our happy dogs off leash and under control. Contact Sit Means Sit today at 262-361-3641 or find us on the web at sitmeansitwaukesha.com to schedule your free consultation so you can have a happy, confident, and obedient dog.
Looking for some winter magic? Head to Lake Geneva for the 29th Annual Winterfest and U.S. National Snow Sculpting Championship. Watch and wonder as 15 of the best snow sculpting teams in the country create larger-than-life masterpieces right before your very eyes. Enjoy bonfires and s'mores on the beach and live entertainment. Explore the downtown ice sculpture walk featuring over 40 beautiful ice sculptures. Don't miss Lake Geneva's Winterfest, January 31st through February 4th. Learn more at visitlakegeneva.com.
A new year brings new challenges. 2024 is a leap year, an Olympic year, and an election year. What will the rates and markets look like during all of this? What benefits and challenges could it bring? WTMJ's Steve Scafidi and Annex Wealth Management's Dave Spano discussed all this during their webinar, Market Outlook, Risks and Opportunities, and answered your financial questions about navigating through 2024. If you missed it or just want to watch it again, you can text WEB, that's WEB, to the WTMJ talk and text line at 855-616-1620 to watch this insightful webinar and prepare yourself for the new year. That's WEB, WEB, to 855-616-1620. Thank you so much for everyone who weighed in and asked so many great questions when we had our guest CJ Safer in studio. You know, CJ has a ton of great expertise that, you know, I couldn't even cover. But in my day-to-day and in planning the show, I really want to make sure that I can bring you topics and information and people and experts that can share all of this with you. And some of the tax changes I think are really, I don't want to say exciting. That's not the right word, but they could be really impactful and they can happen very quickly. And so to be able to have such a great resource in CJ is just tremendous. So thank you to CJ for joining us today. So I want to move to this story that I saw over the weekend, and it was staggering to me. In a day when retail spending is actually up because consumer confidence is high and inflation continues to push those prices higher and higher, we're going to be seeing in the coming weeks reports from the retailers on the busy holiday shopping season. And investors and analysts are looking at these numbers, and we're getting information that they're looking at these numbers, and they're seeing that there is a drop in profitability. And these retailers, time and time again, are saying, well, it's because of shrinkage and it's because of theft. And it's no secret to this audience that theft is rampant to the point that retailers now have to lock up items from, you know, razors to rubber bands because they're just being stolen. This isn't just about the Lululemon merchandise being swiped off the shelves. And when we run into these, you know, when we see these stories, I know a lot of people shake their heads and say, okay, what are these retailers doing about it? All right. And so the investors are starting to ask that same question. See, all of this contributes to you and me paying for these goods, right? We pay for this theft, for this shrinkage, right? It drives up insurance. And in the end, it's causing many retailers just to pull out of these neighborhoods or move to an online shopping model. We saw this with the Walgreens here in the Milwaukee market. The shrinkage, if you aren't familiar with the term, is about the amount of money and the loss that's contributed to theft. According to an article in the Wall Street Journal, it will impact Target to the tune of somewhere around $500 million in its last reporting. And that's just preliminary numbers. This is leading Target to close stores. Nike is having the same concerns. Dick's Sporting Goods, Costco, everyone is showing this drop in profitability, and they're saying it's a result of shrinkage. And these investors are saying, okay, what are you doing about it? And some retailers are hiring their own security guards. You see some surveillance. You're seeing, like I said, locking up these goods. My interest in this topic is from a business perspective, but also a social and economic perspective. As a consumer who pays for goods, I'm getting used to seeing some of these additional security measures in stores. And sometimes it strikes me. I was in Dick's the other day, and it was in the suburbs, right? But they're being proactive about this. At the door, I'm greeted. And I think that the thinking is, if there's a connection to somebody at the door, or if there's a connection, as you're moving throughout the store, there's a lower propensity for theft. You've got Costco, where you have somebody checking your goods at the exit, and some malls, many malls, are making people wait in line to get into certain stores. And I'm starting to see more surveillance cameras and noticing that there are probably more undercover people walking around these stores. And so the question becomes, what are retailers willing to do to stop this theft? And is there a point of diminishing returns? And the investors are saying, you have to make a change. Up until now, this shrinkage was just kind of brushed off. But now they're saying, what are you doing to protect this merchandise? Because this is going to be detrimental to our bottom line and to our profitability. 855-616-1620, that's the WTMJ talk and text line. If we're not going to have employees confront these thieves, if we're not going to chase thieves into the parking lot, if we haven't invested in security, then what will you do about it? That is the question being asked. And I wonder, as a consumer, as a person who shops, do you feel that the retailers need to take it upon themselves to make sure that their items are secure, to make sure that their stores are secure? Or have you just said, I'm not going to go to a store anymore? I know I have a lot of friends who said, you know what, it's just not worth it. I don't want to have to ask somebody for permission to buy a bottle of shampoo. So as a consumer, do you feel that the retailers need to be taking more action, as the investors in these companies have suggested? 855-616-1620, that's the WTMJ talk and text line. Your reaction, my response, when we return.
What you need to know on your drive home. Wisconsin's Afternoon News with John McCure.
The pandemic hit, the road test went away, and now they're bringing it back. So it's just another layer of, let's make absolutely sure before we put you behind the wheel of a 2,000-pound weapon that you know what you're doing.
And Greg Matzik.
There are so many places to see live entertainment in Milwaukee. Is there enough separation to keep it from being a saturated market?
There's going to have to be, or somebody's going to be empty.
3 to 6 p.m. here on WTMJ.
Accunet Mortgage is an equal housing lender. NMLS ID 255368.
Chris and Tim closed their first loan with Accunet $116,000 ago in terms of the median sales price in southeastern Wisconsin. We helped their daughter buy a home earlier this year, and now we're helping them buy their retirement condo. We're told there were 3 offers, 2 cash offers, and Chris and Tim's offer backed up by an Accunet rock-solid guaranteed pre-approval. All 3 offers were probably over the asking price, but we're surmising Chris and Tim's offer was the highest because when the sellers asked the listing broker if they could count on the offer with the pre-approval letter, the answer was simply, Accunet really does their homework. It's not easy to beat a cash offer over the asking price, but that's exactly what Tim and Chris did with some help from their trusted family mortgage lender. If you don't think the lender's name on your pre-approval letter matters, think again. It's still a seller's market in the Badger State, so click on the blue button at Accunet.com today to get started with your rock-solid guaranteed pre-approval. That's ACCUNET.com.
Your nose is for breathing. Your mouth is for eating. And if you're breathing through your mouth, it's not because your body wants to. It's because it has to, because your nose isn't working properly. And although you've lived like this, it's no way to live, and it's having a significant impact on your life. I know you know this, and I know that taking action isn't always convenient. But at Advent, we've done all we can to make changing your life for the better as easy as possible. I'm Dr. Madan Kandula. With tens of thousands of our patients, a thorough breathing triangle evaluation, along with a simple 20-minute in-office procedure called balloon sinuplasty, has opened their nasal passages, allowing them to breathe freely through their nose for good. And there's a good chance this procedure can do the same for you. We'll help you breathe through your nose again, and it will change your life.
Go to adventknows.com to schedule your appointment, because Advent knows when you breathe well, you live better.
Should retailers be managing their security? Is that an expectation that they should be investing in the security guards? They should be investing in these security measures? Or is it just enough to say, hey, that's why we have police. That's why we have, society. We're supposed to look out for one another. You're telling employees that they can't confront a thief. And it's contributing to a loss in profitability for so many of these companies, to the point that they're pulling out of neighborhoods. 855-616-1620. Do you feel more security is necessary? And do you feel safer shopping where there are secure retail? Chris in Cedarburg, you're on WTMJ.
Hi. I'd like to say 2 points. One is that, after the store closes, we have this smash and grab situation. They are on camera, and nothing ever comes about with that. Mm-hmm. And it's so sad for the store owners, because how do you chase down those people? And, the other one, there's so many rules and regulations. I respect the police. There's many people who don't. So, it's really sad. And I think it really comes down to the people who are doing this. And it's an ethical thing. And it's just really sad, because the retailers can't win in any way.
Right. Well, Chris, do you think that if these investors, let's just say like a Dick's Sporting Goods or Costco or something, if their investors at the higher levels, at the highest levels said, listen, you got to fix this shrinkage. And if you don't, this is going to affect your stock price. This is going to affect your profitability. You need to do something about it. Do you think that they would change their policies about people confronting theft? Or do you think they would choose locations to be in a place where there's no propensity? And is that really what we want here?
Girl, that's exactly what happened with the Walgreens and the CVS, and then people crab because the stores are taken out of their neighborhoods, etc. And if people in general do not act appropriately, they're going to lose their retail stores.
Yeah. And it's incumbent, I think, on communities and leaders to really help clamp down on it. But when I see retailers and there's a security guard, it does put me on edge a little bit. I'm not going to lie, especially if someone's in uniform. But I actually think it's a good thing, because it makes me realize that they're taking this seriously. And, I don't get scared when I go into a store, but they're taking it seriously, and they want to make sure that they're helping ensure that the costs aren't going to have to go up because people are stealing things. So,
well, exactly. And that's so sad, is because prices are high as it is. And then when you have these thefts, then nobody's squared away. They don't get their, yes.
Chris, thank you so much for the call. She makes a great point. I mean, we're getting a number of texters saying, as a consumer, I believe the fault and responsibility lies on the prosecutors and the judicial system. Why invest in security when the thieves just get away with it? I mean, Chris mentioned that too. These crooks are on camera, right? They don't care. And at what point are we going to track these people down? And a lot of times these are repeat offenders. I mean, this is kind of the cycle. But, moving back to the retailer, what is their responsibility for making sure that they can help keep prices low? They can help keep people safe. And I get news. If there is a store that the thieves know is an easy target, that's going to continue to be an easy target. But if there's a security guard, yes, that's an additional expense and an additional cost. But it sounds like some of these retailers, many of the retailers, not just the privately or publicly traded retailers, they're really looking at this and saying, we're going to need to address this, especially as we keep our shareholders and our investors happy. All right, it's 1:33 on WTMJ. I'm Tracy Johnson, back with more when we come back.
In this market, you'll find Fisher Investments is different than other money managers.
Different how? Aren't we all just looking for the hottest stocks?
Nope. We use diversified strategies to position our clients' portfolios for their long-term goals.
You don't just provide cookie-cutter portfolios?
No. We tailor our clients' portfolios to their goals and needs.
But you still sell investments that generate high commissions for you, right?
No, we don't sell commission-based products. We're a fiduciary, the highest standard of care for a financial advisor. It means we're obligated to act in our client's best interest.
So when do you make more money? Only when your clients make more money?
Yep, we have one transparent management fee structured so we do better when our clients do better.
Sounds like you really look out for your clients.
We do, because our priority is helping them achieve a comfortable retirement. That might be why most of our clients come from other money managers. Visit FisherInvestments.com to find out why investors like you switch to us. Fisher Investments. Clearly different money management.
Investments in securities involve the risk of loss.
This is going to be a blast. We're taking listeners to southern Italy and Sicily in fall of 2024. An incredible itinerary, breathtaking Sicily, the seaside towns and cobblestone piazzas, the deep blue hues of the Mediterranean as we sail to Positano, the excavated ruins of Pompeii. Going to be a great trip. Send me an email. I'll get you the information. John.Mercure at WTMJ.com. John.Mercure, MERCURE at WTMJ.com. It's Italy this next fall. Come with us.
The special Milwaukee Auto Show Advanced Discount Ticket Offer has been extended to January 21st. Turns out a lot of people want to come to the auto show. Get your auto show tickets now at a big discount. Buy a single ticket, or how about a pair of tickets for date night? Or you can buy a family 4-pack and take everybody. They can see all the latest vehicles, including cars, trucks, SUVs, luxury cars, and much more. For advanced discount tickets, go to AutoShowMilwaukee.com. That's AutoShowMilwaukee.com.
Welcome back on WTMJ. Well played, Aaron. I appreciate despite being a Bears fan, you really got this down. We're doing the love themed music, discussing retail theft and the fact that investors are now saying, okay, enough is enough. Retailers, you need to do more to make sure that that we're able to be a profitable and viable business. We're seeing, and we all know the stories of theft. We've already seen store closures. Walgreens closed a number of stores. Target has closed a number of stores. And, it's because these stores can't keep product on the shelf. There's shrinkage, this term shrinkage. And it's not just in bad neighborhoods. It's everywhere. There's a lot of retail theft that happens at the mall and, across demographics and across socioeconomic boundaries. This is a big problem. And now the retailers they have to make up for it. They have to answer to the investors. James on the South Side, you're in WTMJ.
How are you doing today?
Excellent. What do you think?
Well, I think the thing is that put signs in the store. We do prosecute. If you're going to steal from us, we're gonna take you and you're going to jail. You're not. It's no doggone thing about it. Or you're going to. Or the other thing what City of Milwaukee's starting to do is starting closing up the stores, and everybody's going to suffer, and everybody's going to get the message that to have nice things, as Jeff Wagner used to say, you're going to have to suffer. You're going to put these people in jail and make them accountable.
Yeah,
and everything else.
Do you really think a sign will stop someone? I mean, or is it actually following through on the action?
Well, I think it will. And on the smash and grab and that in your malls or anything else, put these kids where you get them, and you lock them on up, you grab them and make a doggone example of them. Start making examples of all these people, and I'll tell you, it's gonna be a doggone different turn and stuff like that. Why should I have to pay, double the price, or you or me or anybody else for all these doggone goods? Food goods or any other type of goods.
James, thanks for the call. I think a lot of people are saying harsher punishment, make sure you follow through. And here's the thing that we're seeing the investors say, and we're seeing the people at the top say, is, listen, no excuses on this. You have to figure it out. This is on you as the retailer. If you have security cameras, if you have to hire a private security guard, what are you doing about this? Mike in Illinois, you're on WTMJ.
Good afternoon, Tracy. How are you?
Excellent. What do you think? Should the retailers be responsible?
Well, to a certain point. First of all, I hate that term shrinkage. It's a euphemism. It's theft, plain and simple.
Yes. Well, that's the technical term that they use for investors. I get it. Yes.
It's a euphemism. It's BS. It's theft. I don't care what you want to call it. It's a way to please certain groups and certain. Anyway, I'll just leave that at that.
Yes.
But the retailers can only do so much. Plenty of them have security. Plenty of them have cameras. They can't do anything because the laws have no teeth. The prosecution has been so soft on crime, the criminals know it, and they take advantage of it. And I can only speak for Chicago. The smash and grabs are a certain demographic. So that's all I'm going to say about it.
Yeah, but it does span across all demographics in all places, right? This isn't just
not the smash and grab.
Right.
That's incorrect. Smash and grabs in Chicago is one demographic, and if you want proof, look it up.
Yeah, Mike, thanks for the call. I think, in terms, whether it's smash and grab, whether it's, I was at a store actually, and I saw a lady just walk out of the store with a shopping cart, and the staff that was standing there, they were all looking at each other. And again, the other thing to consider is staffing of this measure. I mean, where are you going to find security guards? I mean, yeah, it sounds great. Yeah, let's get a bunch of security guards, or let's get a bunch of undercover, security to walk around and to look for people who are behaving conspicuously. And how do you get these staff? How do you staff this? But going back to this story, this experience I had just before the holiday, there was literally a lady with a full shopping cart. I was at like Home Goods or something. And she walked out of the store, just walked right past the store. And there were 4 people that worked there, and they had been following her. And she walked out of the store, and they all looked at each other, and they're like, what do we do? What should we do? Should we go up and tell her? And what should we do? And I felt for these people. And at the same time, I'm standing in line to go pay for my stuff. And there was no repercussion. She literally put the stuff in her car and drove away. I mean, the employees and the workers there took a picture of her car, but they couldn't do anything. How helpless of a feeling. Kevin in Oconomowoc, you're on WTMJ.
Hi, Tracy. Hey, I'll make it real short about this. We've been bumping our gums about retail theft for decades. Yes. I grew up a couple blocks away from where you're broadcasting. It was a problem when I was a kid. The problem lies in the people committing the crime. It's not retail's job to police people's morality. Mm-hmm. We can take steps as retailers. The guys that you never hear anything about are not the people who have corporate people complaining.
Right.
You have the little corner grocery stores all through the city of Milwaukee. They're closing. Why? Because they can't afford it anymore.
Yes.
What do we have to do as a community doesn't rely on me or you on a radio. It relies on the people living in the community wanting a change. How that gets done is anybody's business. But I know that when you modify behavior by putting people in jail, they can't steal.
Right.
But then again, you have a judicial system that just does not want to act for whatever their reasons are, and that's a whole 3-hour show somewhere else.
Kevin in Oconomowoc, I appreciate some of the caller. This is a topic that obviously I care a lot about, and I get really fired up about, but I know that all of you do too, because we are all paying for this. And my initial question was, what do the retailers do, and what are the retailers doing? And I think the consensus, at least as I'm hearing, is what is the community doing? And just to pivot, I mean, we're talking about a lot of problems that exist in Milwaukee and the theft in Milwaukee and in some of these big cities. And it's about making sure that if crime is committed, if theft is committed, that these people are held accountable, that they're locked up. And I don't need to remind you, because we've talked about it extensively, we have an opportunity in the city with the changing of the guard, with District Attorney John Chisholm not running for re-election. And so these are important discussions that will continue to happen across the city, across the electorate. I do hope that whoever runs for that spot, we're seeing that it could be the assistant DA, Ken Lovren, that they're running on a platform that cuts down on some of this petty theft and petty crime. It's that broken windows theory in some regard, that you take care of the small things even before somebody would have the audacity or be so bold that they would break into a store and steal, whether it's candy bars or whether it's, Nike shoes, that you stop the behavior before it happens. And we could talk around in circles and circles around socioeconomic issues and upbringing and the degradation of the family and how important these factors are. But, this is going to continue to be a real issue for our city and our society, especially a city like Milwaukee and a region like Southeast Wisconsin that I think could be on the rise, has so much potential and so much opportunity in terms of investment in our business climate, in our business culture. We're looking at significant reforms in the legislature that would keep more people in our state with retirement, tax savings. But from a retail perspective, there are a lot of questions and not a lot of answers. Debbie, who's on the road, what do you think? Should the retailers be responsible?
The retailers can only do so much because people are, the thieves are just that. They're devious. And if you even cause one of them to break a fingernail, then there's a lawsuit that can be filed.
Yes.
And so you can't manhandle them. You can't touch them. Everybody starts videotaping and screaming, "You hurt me! You hurt me!" So
yeah,
the retailers are stuck. They really are, and I feel for them.
Yes. And thank you, Debbie. I think she makes a good point that if we do try to take harsher actions, that there's always that unintended consequence, or that's the opposite and equal reaction, which potentially could be a lawsuit. I mean, people sue each other just for taking video. But this society and retail, we're starting to see these investors say you need to come up with a solution. So I leave it to the free market and I say, what is your solution going to be? And if it's locking up goods, if it's getting security guards, we will have to see. But I'm starting to see it more and more as I am a frequent shopper of many different places, and I'm starting to see it more and more, even in some of these smaller boutiques in smaller stores, in corner grocery stores, things like that. All right, it's 1:47. I'm Tracy Johnson on WTMJ.
This is Brad Youngbluth with Semper Fi Roofing and Exteriors, your local, veteran-owned and operated exterior remodeling company. The Energy Star ratings for windows are getting a lot tougher to get the tax credit, so you're going to want to take advantage of. Fortunately, we still have options that will qualify you for those tax credits. Now, I can sit here and talk benefits of this product or what's great about that product. So can everybody else. But what a lot of operations can't do is, with complete confidence, stand behind the crew that's going to be on that next job. Talk is cheap, I get it, but our people are exceptional. How do I know? Because me and Vito handpick every single person that makes our team. Some make the cut, a lot don't. And that's why you can be confident that the windows we install for you will be top quality, installed right, and that you're going to get great service. And that's never failed us. So for your home's new windows, you can count on Semper Fi to keep you safe, warm, and dry.
We keep you safe, warm, and dry. Semper Fi.
Sun, sun, sun. Fun, fun, fun. Sun, sun, sun.
Boaters, this is your show, the Milwaukee Boat Show at State Fair Park. Over 300 boats, family runabouts, ski and surf boats, luxury pontoons, more Lake Michigan boats than ever. Tierra, Beneteau, Pursuit, Cruisers, Sea Ray, Boston Whaler, and more. We have the boats. See Twiggy the water skiing squirrel the second weekend. Check MilwaukeeBoatShow.com January 19th through 28th. Closed Monday and Tuesday.
This is Matt Meitner, owner of Sit Means Sit Dog Training. Do you find yourself talking to your dog but feel like she's not listening to you?
Bella, sit!
Are you constantly repeating yourself but she's not following your directions?
Sit! Sit!
Frustrating, isn't it? At Sit Means Sit Dog Training, we want to help you have a happy, confident, and obedient dog, and we also want to make the training process an enjoyable and worthwhile experience. Contact Sit Means Sit today to schedule a free consultation so we can create a customized training program so you are able to have the dog you want and deserve.
Sit Means Sit Dog Training. Sorry, we don't train husbands, wives, or kids.
Kessler's gives you diamond choices that no one else can give you.
We have all the colors and clarities and carat weights of diamonds that come from diamond mines.
And we also have diamonds that come from plasma chambers, newborn created diamonds.
Is it time to buy an engagement ring?
Or a big anniversary diamond?
Tell them what an anniversary diamond is, Monica.
An anniversary diamond can be twice as big as the one in her engagement ring.
Why twice as big?
Every diamond makes a statement.
Okay.
The anniversary diamond says, I love you twice as much today as the day I married you.
Now tell them about our miraculous no small print warranty.
If you bought it at Kessler's, it's guaranteed.
It's just that simple.
And all maintenance is free forever.
No charge.
Yes, it really is that miraculous.
You found a partner you want to share your life with.
When you're ready to celebrate.
We've got a diamond for that.
Find the Kesslers nearest you at KesslersDiamonds.com.
What about love? Don't you want someone to care about you? What about love? Don't let it slip away.
Welcome back on WTMJ. That last segment went in a lot of different directions. I did not think I would be talking about Assistant District Attorney Kent Lovren during that segment, but talking about retailers' responsibility. If there is a responsibility of a retailer to reduce theft, just straight and simple, reducing theft, is it their responsibility? And I just bottom line this thing. Most people are saying we just need harsher punishment for the people who commit these crimes. And I wish we could say to our elected officials, or we could say to our district attorney that they need to do this. But because that's not happening, what are other solutions? Because we can't have these deserts where there is no retail, there is no food, there is no medicine for people who definitely need it. And the fact that it increases prices across the board for all of us and puts not only employees, but potentially consumers in the line of fire, in danger. All right, we're going to hard pivot here to a couple lighter stories, and they're follow-ups from some stories that broke last week, and it has to do with selling out or being out of stock currently. So as you recall, last week, there was a story about the lacrosse chancellor, Joe Gow, and the fact that he had a beer named after him that was called Hot for Chancellor. This was by 608 Brewing Company. They put this together, and it sold out in a record-breaking 35 minutes on Tuesday. And so they haven't really announced if they were going to be producing any more of this beer. I have not spoken to anyone who had any. This was a local endeavor. It got national attention, though, because as we all are very aware, Joe Gow, who was relieved of his position as the lacrosse chancellor for appearing in pornographic film, he is now somewhat of a celebrity in those parts. So that is a very interesting. And this one is a little cleaner here. I had talked about it last week, but Miller Lite, in a nod to Dry January, came out with these Miller Lite tasting mints. All right. So these were these mints. They were $5 for a tin of beer flavored mints, and they were so people practicing Dry January, where you don't have alcohol in the month of January, that they could still have the taste of Miller Lite. So these mints were sold only online in 2 tranches, one on January 12th and one coming up this Friday on January 19th. Well, they sold out almost immediately. I know, because I had been following this. I was like, oh, I'm going to check this out. And so I went online on January 12th and they were gone. So apparently there is high demand and a big market for beer flavored mints. So maybe I will get lucky on January 19th and I'll be able to get some of those Miller Lite mints for Dry January. All right. When we come back, we're going to tease ahead to our next guest. We have a really great expert with us from the Medical College of Wisconsin. As you know, last week, there was legislation introduced in California, and it was actually moved forward by the legislature to basically ban any child under the age of 12 from playing tackle football. And just by mentioning this, we had a lot of feedback, good and bad. And, we had one person call in that was a coach who said, I'm a coach and my job is to teach kids how to do this right. So we're going to talk about this and we're going to want your feedback. We're going to want your interaction. But we're going to talk with Dr. Mike McCrae in the 2:00 hour and discuss this. Right now, though, it is 1:54 on WTMJ. I'm Tracy Johnson.
Be our eyes on the road. See something out there that I should know about?
Hi there. I was trying to report a traffic accident for your traffic reporter, Debbie Lazica.
Call me, Debbie Lazica, at thehallmazda.com traffic tip line at 414-238-9329.
Hi, Debbie. It's Michael. Eastbound 894, and there's the fender bender, and these guys are blocking the right lane.
The drive affects you. Why not be part of it? Give me a call, 414-238-9329.
Losing sleep lately? The job, the house, the headlines, or investments? How about the feeling your investment partner isn't a partner at all? They might be operating in someone's best interest, but that someone isn't you. It's time for Annex Wealth Management. It's easy. Head to annexwealth.com, click the Get Started button. We work in your best interest as a fiduciary. That commitment runs so deep, we put it in writing. Does your advisor do that? Know the difference with Annex Wealth Management. Start at annexwealth.com.
Hey, WTMJ's John Mercure here. Transform your bathroom like we did. It's Sidex, S-I-D-E-X, Sidex. Take out that conventional bathtub, put in a walk-in shower. That's what we did at our house. It's beautiful. It's open. It's transformed our bathroom. And right now with Sidex, you get $750 off any bathtub or shower replacement. They serve within 60 miles of Milwaukee. It's Sidex. They did the work at our house. It was quick. It was affordable. It was efficient. And our bathroom is beautiful. Go with the company we trust, Sidex. Free shower door upgrade when you mention WTMJ or John Mercure.
When you're due for tire service, visit richlands.com for the location nearest you.
We'll give you a free flat tire repair on every tire we install. No questions asked. I'm Brett Matchke with Richlands. You're due for service.
Richlands.
Winter's here and here to stay, so it's time to stock up on cold weather essentials at Blaine's Farm and Fleet. Stay toasty with unbeatable prices on insulated boots, outerwear, thermal layers, wool socks, and a great range of home and garage heaters. Keep animals comfortable with heated equipment, de-icers, and livestock bedding. Plus, stay safe on the go with trusted brands of tires and batteries, portable jump starters, ice scrapers, antifreeze, and more. Trust the cold weather experts and find value at Blaine's Farm and Fleet.
You want to feel important. You want to be a part of something bigger, something that matters and can help change things. You want to feel like you belong. We know. We felt that way too. And that's why we did something about it. We aren't just Army National Guard soldiers. We are normal people just like you. And together, we can make a difference. Take on your legacy. Visit NationalGuard.com to find out more.
Sponsored by the Wisconsin Army National Guard. Aired by the Wisconsin Broadcasters Association and this station.
WTMJ, W277CV, and WKTI HD2 Milwaukee from the Annex Wealth Management Studios. This is News Radio WTMJ, a Good Karma brand station.
Great to be with you on WTMJ. I will always admit if I make a mistake. All right? I will always admit when I make a mistake. And thank you for keeping me honest from the 414. Ken Lovren, his title is Deputy District Attorney. I mistakenly called him the Assistant District Attorney. So my deepest apologies to Kent Lovren and his and the person who texted me from the 414, Deputy District Attorney. So we will be hearing a lot from Mr. Lovren, I'm sure, in the coming months as he runs for his boss's position as District Attorney of Milwaukee. And hopefully he, in his candidacy, will talk about how we really try to get at theft, especially in some of these neighborhoods where we're seeing it just run rampant, because this is where it all starts. Lock people up, punish them when they commit these lesser crimes, and that will lead to safer neighborhoods, I believe, in the long run. All right, before we touch on the next story, just want to update people. I am following this because I'm a Marquette basketball fan. Marquette is currently leading Villanova. They're playing at the Fiserv Forum today, 21-20. It's kind of a nail biter, man. They are just falling. Come on, Marquette. You got to get it together. They're currently leading Villanova, though, 21-20. All right. 1:59 on WTMJ. The news is next.
It's time to make the call. It's time to get that lasting relief you deserve from that awful joint pain in 2024. Hey, it's WTMJ's Greg Matzik for QC Kinetics. Hey, don't go another year compromising because of that awful pain in your knees or your shoulder. Give a call to QC Kinetics, the nation's leader in regenerative, non-surgical pain relief. Now, the best part is your body has what it needs to restore and repair that damaged joint tissue. That means no drugs, no surgery, and no downtime. QC Kinetics can make it happen. Hundreds of board-certified QC Kinetics providers have treated tens of thousands of satisfied patients all over America. People with back pain, with hip pain, any pain associated with arthritis or an injury. And it's not a Band-Aid fix. This is revolutionary. It's treatment that can get you moving again and get your life back. Take the first step now. Give a call to QC Kinetics. A free consultation awaits. 414-285-3474. That's 414-285-3474.
The place you want to go, Lynch McWanago.
Nobody sells for less than Lynch.
Your hometown hub for everything that matters. The latest news, traffic, weather, and sports on Wisconsin's radio station. News Radio 620 WTMJ, Milwaukee.
2 degrees at 2 o'clock. There is a wind chill advisory in effect until 9 a.m. Wednesday for all of southeast Wisconsin. After a high today of 4, look for an overnight low tonight of -9, and those wind chills 20 to 30 degrees below zero. From the WTMJ Breaking News Center, I'm Connie Weber. This brutally cold weather has come with casualties. The Milwaukee County Medical Examiner's Office investigating 3 deaths suspected to be due to hypothermia, all since Friday. The ME's office says all 3 men were homeless, 2 in their 60s, 1 about 40 years old. 9 hypothermia deaths were reported in 2023. The office is encouraging people who need shelter to call 211 for information on the closest warming center that's open to them, as well as help accessing a shelter. A 62-year-old woman died and a man hospitalized after a fire early this morning at a home near Burleigh and 9th Street. Happened around 3:30 a.m. Firefighters say the home did have smoke detectors, but they weren't working. 2 snowmobilers are lucky to be alive this morning after their sleds fell through the ice on Lake Wisconsin Sunday.
Columbia County rescue crews were dispatched to the scene around 11 a.m. where one person was in the water and another on top of the ice. Officials crediting a flotation device designed for snowmobiling with saving the life of the man in the water. It's also a good reminder to exercise caution when engaging in either snowmobiling or ice fishing on frozen over lakes and rivers, since ice levels are likely still low given the relative warm start to winter this season. Adam Roberts, WTMJ News.
Frigid weather could keep turnout lower in Iowa tonight as voters head to caucuses in the first contest of the 2024 race for the White House. Former President Donald Trump with a commanding lead in the polls, but TMJ4 News chief political reporter Charles Benson says second place is an important prize for the other GOP contenders.
I think they're trying to make this a two-person race. They know Trump is the front runner here, has a pretty sizable lead, at least in Iowa. They all go to New Hampshire after this.
Benson tells Wisconsin's Morning News America could see results in the caucuses as early as 8:30 or 9 o'clock tonight. 2 Navy SEALs missing for a fourth day. They disappeared Thursday after falling into water during a raid of a small ship off the coast of Somalia. First sailor fell into water before a second sailor jumped in to attempt a rescue. And Israeli soccer players received a hero's welcome when he returned home after being kicked off the Turkish team for showing support for the hostages. Correspondent Robert Berger has more of the international flap.
After making a goal, this Israeli soccer player held up his wrist, which had a message in solidarity with the hostages. And the Turkish government was furious. He was arrested and taken in for questioning, where he was accused of inciting hatred.
The player denies trying to incite hatred, says he was simply calling for an end to the war. Today, of course, Martin Luther King Jr. Day, MPS students being honored for their award-winning essays about the civil rights leader.
You and I, this means that we are not alone.
Fifth grader Journey Granberry reading her award-winning essay to 1017 The Truth at the 27th annual YMCA Dr. King celebration this morning.
We are a community. We know what unity means. We talk about it.
Granberry tells the truth what she learned about Dr. King while writing the essay.
I feel like me as a future leader being what I am, I feel like it's going to help other children in my community, in my classroom, be who they want to be when they grow up.
Eric Bilstead, WTMJ News.
Time for news about your money. At the WTMJ Annex Wealth Management Market Update, markets are closed today because of the King Day holiday. 2024 is here. Be ready with investment, retirement tax, and estate planning from a fee-only fiduciary. Click the Get Started button at annexwealth.com. Sports, traffic, and weather are next. Citing Unlimited WTMJ News Time, 2:04.
This report is brought to you by Rejuvenix, your non-surgical joint therapy experts.
It's the last resort that comes with a grueling and painful recovery. And from what I've been told, it never really feels quite natural. A total knee replacement may make the pain you're living with eventually go away, but it opens up a Pandora's box of other possible issues. And that's why surgeons who really do care will tell you that it's a last resort. There are other surgeons who cry, "Replace! Replace!" But the physicians you'll find at Rejuvenix are primarily concerned with relief. And you may find out that the relief we give you helps so much so that you may not need to get that total knee replacement. This is Richard Salinas, registered nurse with Rejuvenix Arthritis Clinics. Our FDA-approved pain treatments aid inflammation and lubricate your joints. And in most cases, insurance has been shown to cover the costs. At Rejuvenix, we can alleviate your pain, and that'll rejuvenate your life.
Rejuvenix. Alleviate your pain. Rejuvenate your life.
Go to rejuvenix.com to request your appointment.
Hey, Gene Miller here. The heart of winter is the best time to call my friends at Hometown Windows and Doors. Save heating and cooling dollars down the road with energy-efficient replacement windows and doors from brands like Pella, Anderson, Marvin, and more. Hometown is your local source for wood, vinyl, or fiberglass, plus all of their products are installed by employee carpenters. Stop into their newly remodeled showroom in New Berlin and see the Hometown difference. That's Hometown with an E for your every window and door need. HometownWindows.com.
You're gonna love it all when you shop at St. Vincent de Paul. Old things, new things here for you. We're always changing, we're always new. So many friendly people, smiles from wall to wall. You're gonna love it, St. Vincent de Paul. You're gonna love it, St. Vincent de Paul.
Green Bay Packers are moving on in the NFL playoffs. This after thrashing the Dallas Cowboys on Sunday afternoon in the NFC's wildcard round by a final score of 48-32.
Love, back foot, has a man wide open. It's going to be caught by Musgrave, racing towards the end zone. He is in. Touchdown, Green Bay.
Next up for the Packers is a Saturday night divisional round kickoff in San Francisco. Over to the NBA, where the Packers not the only sports team to bring a smile to Wisconsin fans on Sunday night. With the Bucks down 2 and 5 seconds remaining, Damian Lillard reminding everyone what time it is.
Lillard goes into the front court. He's going to fire up a three for the win, and he
Lillard hitting the buzzer beater 3 as the Bucks beat the Kings 143-142. With the win, Milwaukee finishes its 4-game homestand with a record of 3-1 and improves to 28-12 on the season. And lastly, the 11th ranked Marquette Golden Eagles will look to snap their 2-game losing streak with a visit with Villanova later today. That tip-off time is set for 1:30. I'm Brandon Snide, WTMJ Sports.
Taking a look at your roads with your Johnson & Sons paving time saver traffic. Just a little bit of slowing right now in that construction zone. I-43 southbound Brown Deer Road to downtown. That's about a 14-minute drive, but of course it is a holiday today, so no afternoon rush to speak of. There is a crash in Waukesha County, 100 north at Fountain Boulevard and Stanley Drive. That crash blocking the left turn lane in that area this afternoon.
Traffic is sponsored by Cedarburg PAC Inc., shining brightly for 25 years.
Get your tickets now for Brass Transit, the musical legacy of Chicago, this Friday at the Cedarburg Performing Arts Center, shining brightly for 25 years. Go to cedarburgpac.com.
Your WTMJ 5-day forecast. We've got dangerous wind chills in the forecast today. Tonight and tomorrow, they could be as much as 30 degrees below zero. There is a wind chill advisory in effect until 9 a.m. Wednesday. After a high today of 4, looking at -9 overnight, a high tomorrow of 5. And then Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, we're back into the double digits. Wednesday, mostly cloudy with a high of 14. Thursday's high 16. Friday, 14 with a chance of light snow. Madison right now at 2. Green Bay 3. Milwaukee 2 degrees. I'm Connie Weber. Sighting Unlimited, WTMJ News Time, 2:08.
It's the middle of the day on WTMJ. Come join the conversation on the WTMJ Talk and Text line at 855-616-1620. Now, here's Tracy Johnson.
Great to be with you. Wisconsin, it's 2:09. I was just in the producer booth talking with Aaron during the break, and there's all the news. You see all the you got all the TVs in here. If you're tuning in on the WTMJ Live on the cam or on YouTube, you can kind of get a feel for what the studio looks like. But we're talking in the studio booth, and all the news about Iowa is on there, and I'm like, ooh, this is like my Super Bowl. I just love what's happening in Iowa right now. So we're going to talk about that tomorrow after I think we're going to have some results on who is, the clear and away winner in the Iowa caucus. Everyone is predicting that it's going to be former President Donald Trump. Who knows, right? With these temperatures at 40 below, I love seeing kind of these panels of these Iowans who say, oh man, we're hardy here in Iowa. We're hardy here. And it reminds me of how we talk about ourselves here in Wisconsin. We're hardy here. So if there was a caucus here in Wisconsin, I'm sure we would be out, right? Or if there was a Packer game, we'd be out, right? It's all good. So this, I wanted to tee this up before our guest joins us at 2:15. So California last week held a hearing that would basically outlaw tackle football for children under 12. And when we first reported on it, it hadn't gone before this committee, but it did pass the committee and will proceed on to continue to get more and more committee hearings. And the debate really centers around the banning of tackle football in an effort that advocates say would protect kids from brain damage and other medical issues. The bill's critics include coaches who warn a ban on tackle football would cut off youths from an important source of physical activity. This bill was authored by a Democratic Assembly member, Kevin McCarthy, and had its first public hearing in front of this legislative committee. But there were a number of people testifying on both sides of this issue. And it was interesting to kind of watch some of the video footage and hear from some of the proponents and the opponents that you heard from the CEO of a Concussion Legacy Foundation and former Harvard football player, as well as a WWE professional wrestler who said research has shown tackle football can cause brain damage, such as chronic traumatic encephalopathy, which can then cause the death of nerve cells in the brain. The risks increase the longer the sport is played, according to the CEO. And because football is such a popular sport, especially here in Wisconsin, I would say across the country, this raised my eyebrows. And, I have a young child. He's actually 13, a young boy who wants to play football. He doesn't play football, but I know that there are a lot of people who do. And there's this back and forth and this debate that football for any age is very dangerous and can be detrimental and is going to cause brain damage. And my take on that is that the numbers are the numbers, and you can do with them what you want. I tend to believe the numbers, and I look at the statistics, and you see that there is a high incidence of potential injury and brain damage in sports, whether it's football, whether it's soccer for girls, gymnastics, but head injuries, as they can occur in football, I think are the most concerning. And I'm not sitting here saying, if you don't let your kid play football, I mean, to each their own. But this particular legislation is interesting to me because it marks kind of a point where we're trying to ban something that, in my opinion, would be left up to the parents to try to decide. Now, this ban in California, it wouldn't take effect until something 2026, if it eventually passed. But it brings up that question about, if it happens in California, often this is kind of the first place that many of these reforms and many of these things start. It is in California. And we've seen a push, not only from a legislative standpoint, from a parenting standpoint, to protect our kids more and more and more from these experiences, whether it be sports, whether it be TV shows, whether it be reading books. And, the question is, should the parents be left to make these decisions, or should there actually be a legislative ban? So instead of just putting out that question, which I will after our call, I've invited a doctor from the Medical College of Wisconsin to join us and answer a couple of questions about this. And I think it could be enlightening. It could be interesting because, again, this is a hot topic, and I know a lot of people feel very passionately about football for kids, one way or another. So we will be joined by Dr. Mike McCrae from the Medical College of Wisconsin. He's in the neuroscience department when we return. But right now, it's 2:14 on WTMJ.
Wake up with me. Hey, it's WTMJ's Greg Matzik. Tune in every Monday and Friday at 8:15 for Matzik's Morning Minute during Wisconsin's Morning News. Everything you need to know about all your favorite Wisconsin teams in just 60 seconds.
It's a true test to all of us, but I do believe in the guys in that locker room in terms of the character that we have.
Every Monday and Friday at 8:15 during Wisconsin's Morning News.
Lopez squeezes up a three, rattles another one through. Oh, it's contagious.
Sponsored by Holiday Automotive in Fond du Lac.
Meet Alan, who was diagnosed with sleep apnea.
I was what they called a mouth breather, and I would breathe at night with my mouth open.
And for about 8 years, Alan struggled with a CPAP machine. And then
I saw the Advent commercial, and I thought, well, what do you got to lose? This machine is miserable.
For most people, CPAP machines are miserable, but a simple breathing triangle solution from Advent can be life-changing.
And it really was, to me, it was amazing because I don't think I ever breathed that clear.
This is Dr. Madan Kandula. After having one of Advent's simple breathing triangle procedures, people are amazed at how freely and clearly they can breathe.
I'm happy with the procedure. I'm very glad I did. I wish I would have done it 20 years ago. I could have avoided that machine I had to have laying next to the bed with the hose wrapped around my head.
Schedule your appointment at adventknows.com because Advent knows when you breathe well, you live better. AdventKnows.com. Results may vary.
The hit Wisconsin musical is back. Guys on Ice, the ice fishing musical, returns to Milwaukee Rep this winter. A day on the lake is easy when the jokes are funny, there's beer in the bucket, and the fish keep on biting. Join two best friends in their shanty up north as they spin wit, wisdom, and side-splitting songs about life, love, and the one that got away. Get ready for Guys on Ice, now celebrating 25 years of laughter, playing now through March 17th. Get tickets at MilwaukeeRep.com.
Hey, Brian. I think it's time to get serious about new windows and front door for our home.
I agree. It will save us money in the long run to eliminate the draft.
I was thinking more about our curb appeal, but yes, the draft thing too.
J&J Contractors in Greendale have been around for 40 years and have great reviews.
Go give them a call.
J&J Contractor's skilled and certified team uses high-quality materials for all your exterior needs. J&J Contractors do it all: windows, doors, siding, roofing, and gutters.
Don't need money, don't take fame, don't need no credit card to ride this train. It's strong and it's sudden and it's cruel.
217 on WTMJ. Thank you all for being with us today. I am Tracy Johnson. Aaron is in the producer booth. I hope you are having a safe day, a warm day, and you are with power today. A lot of people were still out as of something like 8 o'clock this morning. There were still a lot of people without power. But we're discussing the legislation that's making its way through the process in California to ban 12-year-olds, anyone under 12 years old, from playing tackle football. And we asked the question, is this a good idea to put this ban in place? And we're joined by an expert in this area, Dr. Michael McCray. He is the chair of neurosurgery at the Medical College of Wisconsin. Thanks for being with us today, Dr. McCray.
Thanks for having me, Tracy.
All right. Can you just set the stage here in explaining your role at the Medical College?
Sure. As you mentioned, I'm a professor and actually vice chair of research here in the Department of Neurosurgery at the Medical College. I lead the Center for Neurotrauma Research, and that has a rich history of research in the study of concussion and traumatic brain injury in civilian neurotrauma patients who come through our Level 1 Trauma Center here at Frederick. But also we've been really amongst the world leaders in the study of sport-related concussion for the last almost 30 years now.
So you've seen this California proposal to ban football for kids 12 and under. Is this a good idea?
I think in a short answer, I do not think this is a good idea, and there's a reason why it's so controversial, and the reason is not solely that some people love football and some do not. Right? There's obviously different interests amongst groups behind this for it or against. But part of the controversy here is that the evidence is really not overwhelming or even leaning strongly in the direction that football is bad for people. I mean, certainly there is really a proliferation of media coverage of the sometimes poor outcomes in former professional players or otherwise who go on to have long-range neurologic health problems after their careers. But when we look at larger population-based studies, the incidence of that is extremely low, and that we know that most people who participate in football go on to lead gainful lives and in fact, highly successful lives in business and law and medicine and educators and so forth. So the challenge here really is, from a bigger picture, is to understand why are some individuals at vulnerability or risk of poor outcomes, a very small minority, while others can have the same history of exposure to football and other contact and collision sports and go on to lead perfectly gainful and productive lives.
We're joined by Dr. McCray, with the Vice Chair of Neurosurgery for the Medical College of Wisconsin, discussing California's ban or potential ban for tackle football for kids 12 and under. Dr. McCray, we talk about football a lot, but there are a lot of other sports that can cause injury. Why does everyone look at football and say, this is where we need to start? Is it because the numbers are just that much higher?
Well, I think there's a number of reasons. First and foremost, I think you could make the argument that, and I'm a baseball fan myself, but I think American football has become the pastime, more so than baseball, you could argue. If you look at viewership numbers, attendance, the balance of men and women that love the game. But the reason that football gets a lot of attention in this space is because it's not only about concussion, but about repetitive head impact exposure. Those low magnitude blows to the head football athletes sustain, as do soccer athletes and those participating in lacrosse and rugby. But football has really been in the crosshairs for a number of reasons. But I think if you're talking about it technically, it is the sport that has a known risk of concussion like those other contact and collision sports, but admittedly the highest volume of these non-concussive repetitive blows to the head that create some concern.
So how do you counter the concern that banning football will deprive kids of physical activity? I mean, there are lots of other sports that they can take part in. So why are they bringing this up as such a strong argument, or is this actually a weak argument?
I think it's a pretty weak argument, right? I mean, there is no question that the physical hygiene and fitness of our youth in the United States is at an all-time low. We have the highest rate of obesity in history. The rate of published rates of exercise amongst young youth in America is at an all-time low, and we see that, right? Everywhere we look. But it's also the case that a high rate of dropout is observed in organized sports, across all organized sports after about age 10, and again at age 12, age 15, at different branching points of competition and required effort on the part of young people. We see dropout, and that's not good for the physical fitness of our country. So taking any sport off the table universally for young people is going to add to the inactivity of our youth. And I think the sensible approach here is obviously about aimed at reducing any potential risk, but balancing that with the benefit of sport. And that's been our philosophy all along for the last 30 years while we've been studying the effects of sport-related concussion. One of the things that we're most proud of is that we have been conducting research that has resulted directly in rule changes and differences in the management of concussion that without question has improved the health and safety of athletes. But we've never proposed something like a ban or an abolishment of a sport, football or rugby or otherwise. We believe there's a balanced approach here to maximizing safety and fitness and experience of the young athlete.
Can you just describe a little bit, Dr. McCray, some of those changes, or even just one change that you've been able to help push forward as a result of your research at the medical college as it relates to brain injury?
Yeah, absolutely. So I'll touch on two real quick here, Tracy. And the first is most recent. We conducted a study of American football players, collegiate players, who we had instrumented with head impact measurement technologies. About 700 or so collegiate football players that were instrumented for multiple years. And we were able to understand the true profile of head impact exposure, these repetitive head impacts that don't cause concussion, in all practices and games. And we found out that about 50% of concussions occur during practice, not in games, despite the fact, that occur during preseason, roughly in August, before games start, on our own practice fields. And that practices account for about 2/3 of head impact exposure. So pretty immediately, within the same season, the NCAA instituted policy reducing contact in the preseason and throughout practice over the course of a football season, all in an effort to, again, reduce head impact exposure, improve the health and safety of the athletes, and preserve the sport. And that really has been what we believe to be the sensible approach all along. is to use data-driven decisions to maximize safety and preserve the future of sport and all that the benefits it derives for young people. The other really dramatic change based on our work over the last 25 plus years has been that if I go back to when I started this work, most athletes return to play within the same contest after a concussion. And now the average time to return to play is about 16 days. So a cliche that we use around here is return to play after concussion has gone from 15 minutes to 15 days in a matter of 15 years. And that has allowed adequate time for brain recovery, return to sport safely without any downstream ill effects. And really, again, the end result here is that contact and collision sports have never been safer for young athletes than they are today. And my kids have all participated in a variety of contact and collision sports, including football. So that I think says says a fair amount right there.
We should be focusing on on how to do it correctly rather than trying to ban it outright. Final question, Dr. McCray. What do you recommend parents do as they approach making these decisions, whether they allow their kids to play football or not?
Really excellent question, Tracy, and one that we all struggle with, not just confined to football, but really across all sports. I would really urge parents to consider what we refer to as the athlete development model. And by the way, USA Football has out there available their football development model. And this is really focused on the long-range development of young athletes, physically, psychologically, socially. Not all kids are ready to participate in competitive ice hockey or soccer or tennis or golf at the same time, right? Mm-hmm. It's based on individual readiness from a physical and psychological and social standpoint. So I would really urge parents that it's not really about, oh, you're in sixth grade now, start playing competitive ice hockey or football or soccer. Make these decisions really at an individual level based on when you believe your son or daughter is ready to have the best experience possible within a given sport. It'll significantly improve their fulfillment and satisfaction within a sport. And oh, by the way, it's also a predictor of how likely your son or daughter is to continue in that sport beyond elementary, middle school, and high school. And really, that's what it's all about, right? I don't have any Olympians in my house, but I think all my kids recognize the benefit of sports.
Dr. McCray, Vice Chair for Neurology at the Medical College of Wisconsin, thank you so much for sharing with us. I really appreciate your insights, and I think a lot of people will really appreciate your balanced approach to this whole issue of football and kids. Thank you.
Really my pleasure, Tracy. Thanks for having me.
All right. Right now it's 2:30 on WTMJ. I am Tracy Johnson. We'll be back with more.
Every day, it seems like there's always something new going on in the world of politics. Join WTMJ now for the Political Power Hour. Bill McCoshen.
The first lesson I learned when I worked for Governor Thompson is never give away power.
And Joe Zepecki.
I'm often accused of being the Eeyore on this panel, so let's try to find a silver lining.
Will help make sense of today's political headlines.
He's the guy that sits in the front of the class and always has an answer for something, and you're like, sit down and shut up.
I thought you were that guy.
No.
It's the Political Power Hour on WTMJ.
According to the U.S. debt clock, our debt is over $32 trillion and climbing. The question is, how do we pay it off? One of the most likely answers is increasing taxes. Now think about your retirement accounts. Do you want to pay taxes on some of that money now when rates are historically low, or later when rates are potentially higher? At Drake & Associates, we can help you create a plan so your retirement is tax efficient as possible. If you'd like to continue your education, we have our Retirement Ready Toolkit, which includes guides on retirement tax savings. To receive this complimentary toolkit, call or text TAX to 414-409-9982. That's calling or texting TAX to 414-409-9982. When taxes go up, will you be ready? Call or text now.
Investment advisory services provided by Drake & Associates, LLC, an SEC-registered investment advisor. Insurance products are offered through a separate company, Loft Financial Advisory Group, LLC, a Wisconsin insurance agency. Clients are under no obligation to purchase any recommended insurance products.
This is Brad Youngbluth with Semper Fi Roofing and Exteriors, your local, veteran-owned and operated exterior remodeling company. The Energy Star ratings for windows are getting a lot tougher to get the tax credit, so you're going to want to take advantage of. Fortunately, we still have options that will qualify you for those tax credits. Now, I can sit here and talk benefits of this product or what's great about that product. So can everybody else. But what a lot of operations can't do is, with complete confidence, stand behind the crew that's going to be on that next job. Talk is cheap, I get it, but our people are exceptional. How do I know? Because me and Vito handpick every single person that makes our team. Some make the cut, a lot don't. And that's why you can be confident that the windows we install for you will be top quality, installed right, and that you're going to get great service. And that's never failed us. So for your home's new windows, you can count on Semper Fi to keep you safe, warm, and dry.
We keep you safe, warm, and dry. Semper Fi.
Big thanks to Dr. McCrae from the Medical College of Wisconsin for joining us. I have to, my mother-in-law just reminded me to mention that I do actually know Dr. McCrae. I serve on the Medical College NRC Board of Directors, along with a number of other outstanding leaders in our community. So these types of issues are really near and dear to me, but they're also very interesting. I think I was really surprised at what Dr. McCrae said about having a balanced approach to sports and trying to reduce the type of injury and the amount of head impact when you are playing any sport. And the amount of work that they've been able to do at the Medical College of Wisconsin with regard to head injury and trying to reduce the impact and educate people on how to do this right. Because as a number of texters are weighing in, you know, we talk about head injury and we talk about, you know, damage to joints and things like that. But, you know, we've got a society where kids are just sitting around playing video games. And what is the damage that can be done because of that? We got to get kids moving. And that's really what a lot of the people who are against this legislation are saying is, you know, we don't want to deter kids from having any physical activity. We need to be promoting that physical activity. What Dr. McCrae suggested is there are lots of options. We need to be incentivizing kids and students to get active, to be working out, not banning certain types of activities. And there's a way to have both. Did anything strike you about that conversation? Do you agree with Dr. McCrae? 855-616-1620. That's the WTMJ talk and text line. You know, should we need to be advocating a way to do it better, and we need to be paying attention to the data. We need to be recognizing that two things can be true at the same time. Is you can play a sport safely and you can educate a child on how to play a sport safely, but then you can also be contributing to their physical well-being and getting them active and getting them stimulated out on the field, having fun, learning a sport, learning about camaraderie. My fear in some of this legislation and this talk of banning sports, banning anything, is that we just suppress any sort of ability to have this physical activity. And if it's football today, is it soccer tomorrow? Is it gymnastics the next day? And could this be a slippery slope? 855-616-1620. That's the WTMJ talk and text line. Do you agree with Dr. McCrae's take? We don't need to be looking at football bans for our kids. We just need to be looking at how we do this safely. More on WTMJ. It's 2:36.
My doctor told me my blood pressure is borderline. I figured I could worry about it or do something about it. So I took control with Garlic Healthy Blood Pressure Formula. It works safely and naturally to help maintain healthy blood pressure with a custom blend of garlic, vitamins, and minerals. And it's odor-free. I'm taking charge with Garlic Healthy Blood Pressure Formula.
These statements have not been evaluated by the FDA. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease. The term natural references only the garlic in the product. Use as directed.
Valentine's Day is here. This year, give the ultimate gift. Name a star after your sweetheart. This is Rocky Moselle with International Star Registry. For 45 years, we've named millions of stars for celebrities, dignitaries, and individuals worldwide. For $59 and a call to 800-282-3333 or visit starregistry.com, you can give the most memorable gift. The star you name will be recorded in book form in the U.S. Copyright Office. Visit starregistry.com or call 800-282-3333.
Heart disease won't stop us. Diabetes won't slow us down. Allergies, high blood pressure, shoulder pain, cancer. Nothing will keep us from pushing Wisconsin ahead. Because with the Freighter and the Medical College of Wisconsin Health Network, forward progress is what we stand for. That means always pushing and always innovating. With new technologies and breakthrough treatments that make life better, whether we're sick or well. It means providing more convenience and more ways to receive medical excellence for all your health needs, for big and small. It means being there for you, our family, caring for yours. So let's keep raising the bar. Let's keep testing the limits of what medicine can do. Let's push ahead and make life here as great as it can be. Visit Freighter.com to find out how.
Welcome back on WTMJ. Is banning youth football the answer? Steve in Oak Creek, you're on WTMJ. We got to let the music play out. We got our Jordan Love themed music here today. Steve in Oak Creek, what do you think?
The doctor was an excellent guest to have on for the subject at hand, and I would agree that it's not up to state legislatures to legislate the outlawing of sports for anybody. And for kids there, the emphasis is on the role of the parent and making sure the parent's educated to get the proper equipment for their children, for whatever sport they're playing, especially a contact sport.
Yes, and even educating the coaches. I think one of the things that Dr. McCrae said that was interesting to me is just how closely they work with the high school and youth sports programs in order to look at the data and really test the significance and the compounding of the impacts. And so as a result, not only do they avoid more contact in the preseason, but also after a concussion, instead of going right back out on the field, they wait something like 15 days. That's incredible, is to work so closely with those experts and take that advice and really focus on the longevity of the sport. Steve, thanks for...
A lot has been learned over the years, for sure.
Steve, thanks for the call. His bottom line was it should be up to the parents and not the legislature. And I agree. We invest so many resources in learning about the safety and about the precautions, but also the long-term impact of sports and youth. I know last week when we were talking about this, we had a coach calling in, and we couldn't take the call at the time, but the coach was just very, very upset by even the notion that we would talk about banning youth sports. I guess don't go to California, because I feel like this is running down the path of banning youth sports or youth football. But he took great pride in the fact that he was very educated on the impacts. He was very conscientious about making sure the kids wore the right equipment, about making sure that they were learning how to tackle properly, that they were learning how to practice correctly, and reduce the significance and the number of impacts. So I really appreciate all the calls, all the texts about this. I think we're on the same page here in Wisconsin. If any legislator even tried to bring this up, we would have a real problem. So again, it's up to the parents to decide, and I think that's the best place to start. So we will see what happens in California. We will follow that closely. Speaking of safety, This ties to the airlines, the issues with the Alaska airline. I would want to call it a debacle, but what happened just a week and a half ago where the Alaskan airline flight took off from Portland, Oregon, reached an altitude of 16,000 feet, and the door plug flew off and had to return to the airport. Nobody was injured, but it got a lot of people thinking about safety in airplanes. And I know then there was a further discussion about, if there was a kid sitting on a lap, they would have been sucked out of the door, and this would have been, led to death and all of this. And it got a lot of people thinking about, okay, if I was afraid to fly before, I'm really afraid to fly now. So this article out of the Wall Street Journal says that flying in America has actually never been safer. The U.S. airlines have gone nearly 15 years without a fatal crash, and it's not just luck. It says the revolution in the skies began with an innovative program that has become a model for the rest of the world. So I guess I really hadn't thought about fatal airline crashes in the United States, but to think that 15 years has gone by without a fatal airline crash. The writer, Ben Cohen, suggests that this is something of a miracle in and of itself. He says there have been more than 100 million flights and 10 billion passengers since then. I mean, I've taken 4 flights since January 1st. I mean, people fly all the time, and they don't even think about. They think about, is the Wi-Fi up? When am I going to get my soda? When can I go to the bathroom? This lady's loud or she stinks. I mean, people worry about all this other stuff. And, with this Alaska Airlines flight having to turn around, it got a lot of people thinking about the safety. And is this really something that we need to be looking at? I wonder how many people withdrew their flights or canceled their flights because they were actually afraid after seeing that Boeing 737 MAX 9s were all being grounded, and that there actually were some oversights in terms of checking some of the bolts on some of the door plugs and things like that. But 15 years without a fatality, I mean, that's impressive. And I think it goes to show that, even though we get caught up in some of the things that I would suggest don't matter, like the temperature, or even if there are delays, these are all in the name of safety and security. And the systems that are in place to check and to double check and to triple check, and the training that goes into these pilots, it's really all meant so that we can fly safely and we can talk about these numbers. 15 years without a U.S. flight casualty. That's an impressive number. So flying in America has actually never been safer. I wish that was the way that we could put a bow on this whole topic of Alaskan Airlines. Something tells me that something else will come out about this. But in the meantime, again, the data don't lie. The numbers don't lie. Flying in America has actually never been safer. We'll be back after the break. It's 2:45.
At Kessler's Diamonds, we know you're too busy to go shopping from store to store, too busy to listen to a bunch of sales pitches, too busy to negotiate. This is Monica Kessler. I'm going to tell you another reason why I like working at Kessler's. Are you ready? At Kessler's, we don't negotiate. We think it's unfriendly and dishonest. So we've never done it. Would you ask your friend to pay a higher price than what you were truly willing to accept? Kessler's is a 100% employee-owned company, and the owners insist that everyone gets the lowest price. Don't believe me? Put it to the test. Go to any of our Kessler's locations and ask to buy something for $1 less than the price on the tag. One of our owners is going to offer to find you something else at that $1 lower price, but the item you want costs $1 more, period. Kessler's is the face of friendship and fairness and integrity. You never have to negotiate at Kessler's. And that's comforting, especially when you're in a hurry.
Hey, Gene Miller for Forest Ridge Senior Residences, a caring community known for its small-town friendliness while offering luxury living in a big way. Nestled in the village of Hales Corners, Forest Ridge delivers first-class amenities, accommodating active lifestyles with entertainment and transportation. Enter through the fully renovated community center with exquisite dining to see our brand-new 1- and 2-bedroom apartments, where your rent is frozen until 2026. Come tour Forest Ridge Senior Residences today. Call 414-485-9507.
Winter's here and here to stay, so it's time to stock up on cold weather essentials at Blaine's Farm and Fleet. Stay toasty with unbeatable prices on insulated boots, outerwear, thermal layers, wool socks, and a great range of home and garage heaters. Keep animals comfortable with heated equipment, de-icers, and livestock bedding. Plus, stay safe on the go with trusted brands of tires and batteries, portable jump starters, ice scrapers, antifreeze, and more. Trust the cold weather experts and find value at Blaine's Farm and Fleet.
Siding Unlimited, named the best window installers, not just here, but in the whole USA. Get the best. Siding Unlimited, 3-time winner as America's best window installer. For windows, you call Siding Unlimited first and directly. SidingUnlimited.com.
AccuNet Mortgage is an equal housing lender. NMLS ID 255368.
Flimsy, feeble, flaccid. That's how you can describe most pre-approval letters these days. Heck, a lot of big banks issue pre-approval letters using soft credit pulls instead of real credit reports. Do you really want to compete in today's still low inventory market with a soft credit pull and a pre-approval that's silent on 2 of the 3 critical elements of a mortgage approval? A rock-solid guaranteed pre-approval from AccuNet not only verifies your credit with a real credit report, we also verify your income and down payment, and then issue a letter with a $2,000 guarantee to back it up. And now, AccuNet is issuing property-specific pre-approvals that often come with this sweet phrase: no appraisal required. That's right, AccuNet may be able to issue your pre-approval at or above the seller's asking price without needing an appraisal. Today's home market is still a metaphorical knife fight. Your bank is offering you, well, a pocket knife. AccuNet is Crocodile Dundee. Now that's a knife, mate. Click on the blue button today at accunet.com.
Great to be with you on this Packers Monday, Victory Packers Monday. Aaron's giving me a look in the booth. He's like, you made me pull, Aaron, or you made me pull love songs throughout the show. I almost said Aaron Rodgers. Oh, sorry about that. How was it? Was it painful?
Yeah, I mean, it was tough. I wanted to throw in like ones that were like bad love songs, like Love Stinks and stuff, but I didn't. I made it through the whole show. I just want to get that out there on the record.
Oh, Aaron, you are so great. We've been having a blast here on this afternoon show on WTMJ. I want to end with this, and we always kind of talk after the show. How do we end on a high note? You got to end with some good news, because there's a lot of crazy stuff happening in the world today. I found this story in the Wall Street Journal once again. It says, feds to highway signs. You have 2 years to stop being funny. All right, so some of you are probably driving on the freeway or driving on the highway, and you look up and you see those signs, those kind of digital signs, and they'll say things like, use ya blanca. That's a Massachusetts sign. Driving basted is for turkeys. Use headlights like Rudolph uses his red nose. All right, so these are punny little signs that you see all over these digital signs. Here's one. Life is fragile. Slow down. That's a reference to A Christmas Story. Here's another one. Texting and driving. Autocorrect yourself. So there's a million of these signs, and a lot of times they're on social media and they're being shared widely because they are really punny and they're funny and they get your attention. Well, the Federal Highway Administration, an agency within the U.S. Department of Transportation, issued new guidance on traffic safety messages. It says that signs should avoid language that uses pop culture references or humor. Federal officials said funny signs can distract drivers. And when I first read this, I was like, come on, this is, get a life. These get your attention. It is a reminder to slow down. It's a reminder to get your head out of your phone. I think these are a good thing. But you start to look at some of the rationale and some of the feedback that the Federal Highway Administration was really looking at. And there are a lot of comments and a lot of feedback that people are pulling over on the side of the road. They're taking pictures. They're, sometimes they don't know what the sign means, and so they're looking up that reference and possibly doing it while driving. I mean, so I don't know. I'm a little torn on this because I do actually like looking at some of these signs. I think they're really funny and they're really impactful, and that's, I think, where we need to figure out where do we have a balance here. But don't worry, because state highway officials are not being told that they need to stop using these signs. So I did reach out to the Wisconsin DOT to see who manages this. This was covered a couple years ago. There's a gentleman who was kind of making headlines because of all his cute little signs. But I couldn't reach anyone to see what their take is. And so I would imagine that different states are going to take their own approaches on these signs. So don't worry, though. It's going to be 2 years before we see any changes to these highway signs. But feds to the highway signs, you have 2 years to stop being funny. Well, I hope they're at least impactful, if not funny. All right. Well, that's a show. Thank you so much to Dr. McCrae for being with us today. CJ Safer, also guest in studio. And then Roy Henning, a friend who just got back from the Cowboys game. All of those interviews will be available on podcast. I know there was a lot of interest in the interview with Dr. McCrae, and we'll have that ready on podcast. But we're going to see after the break what John and Greg, or no, John's not here. Greg has on Wisconsin's afternoon news. It's 2:52 on WTMJ.
Going there first. Got it.
When it comes to public safety in Milwaukee, no one knows it better than Annie Schwartz.
More often than not, when officers are hurt in a traffic crash, their vests actually save them.
Join WTMJ now Wednesday mornings at 9 for the Public Safety Hour. Annie will get you updated on the latest issues facing police, firefighters, and more.
One of the chiefs I used to work with always used to say was, first reports are always wrong.
It's the Public Safety Hour on WTMJ now.
Dan, what do you think are the top 3 reasons people buy from us at Inspired Closets?
Katie, that's easy. Our 3D design software, 4 ironclad guarantees, and our lifetime warranty.
Plus, we are honest and transparent in our pricing. We don't over